All right, we
There
are
we go.
live. Let's go. All right, we're live on YouTube. We're live on Twitter.
And
What's up,
Instagram.
y'all? And Instagram. Let's see where else. We're live on, let's see if Twitch worked. We're live in multiple different places right now. So if you are joining us right now, we just started this awesome live stream. Let's go. Let's go. Oh, that's working. We're live. We are officially live on
What's up with you, Nana Miri?
YouTube. Let's check to see if we're live on Twitter. And if we are, Abdullah, if you can go on there and boom, we are live on Twitter. Second time ever. Abdullah, if you can please go on to Twitter and give this a, what do you call it now? Repost. It's not a retweet anymore. It's actually called a repost now.
There
So
we
if
go,
you're
yeah.
joining us right now, please feel free to join the chat and have a nice conversation with us. We're going to be here until Abdullah wants to go to sleep.
It's a work night, man.
Or like, yeah, I know exactly. That's yeah. So shout out to you. Wait, we're having trouble streaming. Of course you are. You know, for some reason, I am not allowed to stream on Kick, so we're going back to Twitch. Yay.
While we wait, the Specker Energy, dude, this is great. I've been waiting for my dosage today, though. I was gonna do it live.
Well, no better time than now to do it, right? And
So
Specker
one full.
Energy. Whoopsie. Specker Energy is one of Specker, which is my company's new products that I developed. It is a low dose CBD, MCT oil, and peppermint essential oil. And it is a phenomenal experience from start to finish. And
Truth be told, last night I tried this, the Specker Sleep, within minutes.
All right. Hey, we lost you on Instagram. Abdullah, if you could join back on there. Hey, what's up if you're on Instagram? Hello, how you doing? If you're watching us anywhere right now, say what's up in the chat. We are going to be here for a few hours and we are going to be talking about health, fitness, politics, coming together, finding common ground. Hey, what's up, Mr. Torres? Let's see if we are live now. That would be really awesome if we are.
I seen the invitation. Did you get it?
Let's go. We are live on Twitch. Abdullah sent me a request right now. Hello, Ali Hashemi. Let's go in this wave.
Oh, nice.
Him. Abdullah joined. All right, perfect.
What's up?
What's up? If you're watching us here, there are better places to watch us, which is YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter at Amir Zen Official. The same on Instagram as it is on my YouTube, my Twitter, and my Twitch. So we are joined today by my friend Abdullah Hasani, and we are going to be having a phenomenal few hours talking about some really fun things that we're always talking about. And just to introduce Abdullah a little, he is an amazing human being to start, and he is the founder of a new company, right?
Yeah. About 5 months ago, I launched Smart HR. We're business consultants. We really focus on HR and other parts of operations within organizations. Right now, a lot of companies are looking to streamline a lot of their operations. So that's kind of where we step in. And I've been doing it for about 5 months now. We're steadily growing, and it's been a crazy journey so far. But any entrepreneur knows it's a part of the process. So it's been a pretty cool journey. On the flip side, Amir, you've been with Specker for, I won't even just say with Specker, just you've been on this journey for like 15 years practically. And it's pretty cool to see how it's all kind of expanded over all these years.
It has been about 15 years now, yeah. Specker is going into year 6 right now. We are into year 5 right now, and it has been a wild journey, but as you know, and if you knew me any time before Specker, you would know that I have been on a very similar journey for a long time. And now it's time to take that journey into the next step, the next level, so we can share this knowledge with the rest of the world so that the human consciousness that we have can currently grow and evolve to the next level. So, hey, what's up, y'all? All right, if you're here right
Damn, I
now,
love it.
give us a follow. If you don't follow me, give me a follow. If you don't follow Abdullah, give him a follow. We're on Instagram right now. Say what's up. Ask us a question. We're here to chat. We're on Twitter. We're on YouTube. And we are officially on Twitch as well. So that is awesome. I am very much looking forward to streaming on all of these platforms a lot more moving forward. Throw us a like on these videos as well and share them with your friends. We're going to be talking about health, fitness, politics, the future, coming together, making the world a better place, because there's a lot of negativity going on in the world these days, and we're going to have to change that. What do you think, Abdullah?
I agree 100%. What do you want to go over first? There's so much that I need to catch up with you on, and just I want to go over.
Yeah, there is a lot to talk about. I guess let's see what are the big topics that we can talk about these days. Let's talk about politics. Let's talk about some political stuff, Abdullah.
This is why I'm
And
here right now. Let's go. I
connect it
love it.
into, and this is what I
Nice.
want to
You
do.
got me ready.
Let's talk
Now I'm ready to
business,
go.
politics. Let's combine these things, because to me they're very hand in hand.
Yeah.
My business is very affected by what some politician decides to do today or tomorrow. And so politics is
But
very
you took that
intertwined.
journey though, right? Like you knew going into it that it was a major uphill battle. Like CBD, nobody knew anything about that 15 years ago. Nobody was looking into it, and it was something that you saw even back then. But like for me, when I looked at business, I was like, how can I get into business? Like what issues can I find, and how can I find solutions for that? Mine was really surface level. Like you were like, no, I got to dig in deep, and you've been talking about cancer research for 10 plus years, and it's like, wow, like there's so many different levels to entrepreneurism. Like you really learned about just the core of everything. It's so interesting how we've taken such complete different approaches, but here we are today.
Yeah, that's a very interesting point. Because and we got some comments here. We got Ali Hashimi says DeSantis 2024. That's interesting. He is a kind of a neocon, so I would look into that. Jake says Amir ranting about politics is my favorite form of education. Hey, Jake, my friend, I am going to be doing that a lot more moving forward. I'm going to keep doing that until they disappear me from these platforms again, and that's why I'm telling you all to move over and follow me on places like Twitter, where the censorship is not the same anymore, and that's one of the places we're streaming. So I wanted to say that,
see, I don't say nothing that crosses the line, so it works well like this.
yeah, I
this
say,
is a
yeah,
good
that's,
combo.
I have to watch every word I say
We might make it through a full live stream.
Yeah. So I was gonna say, it seems like I just reverse engineered what you were doing, or the way that you
You
started.
really did.
We
Yeah.
started at different ends essentially, and kind of worked our way into a similar middle. And for
Let's
me
talk
it
about that
was,
beginning real quick. I really want to dive into that. Like you were an entrepreneur in high school. How many different businesses did you have?
oh yeah, I was
Or
an
were you a part
entrepreneur
of?
since my earliest some of my earliest memories is,
BMX, what was it? It was BMX clothing brand. What was it called?
yeah, we used to have a BAB for life, man. If you're a Bay Area BMX,
Hey,
that's
you still
something
owe me a
that,
shirt from that. It was from like 15 years ago. You owe me a
hey, well,
shirt.
I'll hook you up with a Specker shirt in replacement for that. How about that?
I'm down. Yeah, that'd be cool. Oh yeah.
But yeah,
See, you got
I've
you
been in the
got-
entrepreneurial game. It's all been about, for me, generally speaking, health and fitness related. I started martial arts when I was, I think, in kindergarten. So I've been into trying to figure out how to get to higher forms of consciousness, become stronger and healthier. And I have to say that my health journey actually started because I was hurting myself so much doing things like riding BMX, uh, training martial arts, and doing a bunch of other wild things when I was younger that led me to realizing that the medical industry can't really give me what I'm looking for. And I very quickly realized in my teenage years that if I want to actually get to the places that I want to be in my health, then the medical establishment status quo is not going to be where I find those answers. And pretty much my life up until this point has been finding the answers to how to cure disease and optimize health on the highest levels possible. And Dizbula says the medical industry sucks. Howard, good to see you coming. Keeping coming, my bro. So good. What's up, Howard? It's good to see you in here. Say what's up if you're in the chat. We are on multiple platforms right now, and this is the second
So
time we are on Twitter and second time on Twitch. So that's awesome.
yeah, I was at the hospital the other day, just for my back. I was having some issues, and I think the bill came out to like $1,100. I was there for
Oh
like 2
my
hours.
god.
Like, dude,
Yeah, I
like,
you know, I
so
judge I
Diz,
had a
you're
little
right, bro. That's
judgment
so
as
bad.
well on that when I saw that picture, I was like,
Yeah,
"Bruh."
you're like, bro,
It was
why'd
a
you
it
go?
was a it was
Bro,
a
I
big
couldn't even
realization
stand
that
up.
I had because I was like, "Wait, damn, that's crazy," because it just showed me that the health world is still in a place where people have nowhere else to go. Like that
Yeah.
happened to you and you're like, "Well, what else do I do? What other option do I have?"
Bro,
And to me, in
I had
my
to order
mind,
this. I had to get it delivered to my house. You know what I mean? Like I was like, I need Specker. But no, they prescribed hella drugs. Like they gave me Norco and ibuprofen, the heavy doses, and I was like, damn. And it was crazy when I checked into the hospital. They literally used a notepad and paper to write my information down. I was like, bro, we're not stuck in the '80s right now. What is this like? But yeah, that's an argument
yeah,
for another day.
that's I'm gonna bring up this study about how I you can check out speckerhealth.com if you want to go read studies on this exact topic, but and the topic that I'm bringing up right now. But there are multiple studies out there. Let's see, do we have a little Abdullah, is your volume down all the way?
It doesn't go lower than that. I don't know why.
All right, let me check. Sorry, let me check something. All right, we're done. All right, so I
I
was
think we're
gonna
better
say
now.
that cannabinoids, there is a legitimate handful of research that's been coming out, including this study that I wrote a summary to. It's THC and CBD extract provides effective pain relief for advanced cancer patients resistant to strong opioids in clinical trial. So ultimately, what it's showing is that cannabinoids like CBD and THC can work for pain relief in ways that even the strongest opioids that they use for cancer pain relief do not work. So that should tell people a lot about what they're doing with their health and where the medical industry is, because the medical industry, the status quo is essentially pushing a lot of opioid based medicines, and I am promoting cannabinoid based medicines because the research shows, and this study that I brought up, by the way, it's a clinical trial from 2009. So when people say there isn't enough research on this topic, um, this is a clinical trial from 2009. So there's a lot of research on this topic. And this is just one of the studies. It's just a study that I wrote a summary on. But that's the problem with, we're talking politics, and well, how does that change? You can't just ask the doctor nicely, can I have a scientifically proven better, healthier medication for me?
Mm.
And that's not an option. Why? Because it's legislation. So they push those drugs because it's legislated to be able to do that, and it's not for cannabinoids. So, the frustrating part too is it's not just alternative services, like something happens to you and then you're like, oh, I need to go to some other place instead of a hospital. It's like
Mm.
you don't have the knowledge yourself to fix it yourself, because everybody who would talk
Not
about,
everybody sat in front of a fucking book all day, Amir.
well, no, because if you, they're
You
telling
did
you
your
that
own
you can't,
research.
but they're telling you you can't fix it. So they're
Yeah.
not like, you don't go to the doctor and they're like, all right, so we're going to tell you this, this, and this, and then it's going to cure your sciatica. They're like, here, take this, it'll manage your pain. Like, nowhere in that process are they like, here are the techniques to 100% reverse your back pains and your sciatica, right? So
Yeah.
that's the issue, because this information is out there. However, it's extremely difficult for people to find because it's very censored information on the internet. Anytime you talk about these topics, it's going to be very hard for other people to see based off these algorithms.
Yeah.
So let's see what
You're
some
not
people
wrong.
have to
Yeah.
say. Let's see what some people have to say. We got some comments in here. We actually got a lot of comments in here. Wow, that's cool. Somebody's foreplay. Jay says, Dula. What's up, Dula?
What's
Jake
up, my
says,
brother?
medical bill mediation. The prices are made up and can be, what the heck? Be brought down tremendously when you press them. You in SoCal? It says, oh yeah, actually, Abdullah, if you want to hit up Picks from Word, he says you're in SoCal. Let me help you. Speaking of back pains and helping your back, I can vouch for Mr. Howard here, who has a fantastic kombucha company. But before he was
Oh,
full time in his kombucha company, he was uh, my body worker. He was my guy that would come to my house and we would do sessions. And he's actually the first guy that really, I would say, showed me that body work can get you to a cure, especially with the back pains I had, which was something that we used to work a lot together with. So yeah, I'm glad I read
for
that
sure. Yeah.
comment. Howard, I didn't even know
Just
you were still doing that. So if you're still doing that, I'm definitely going to connect you guys. Got a Gervais over here. He says, "Yo, love the conversation. Too many incentives forcing people down the wrong path." Yeah, actually, that's a thing I bring up a lot, is that a lot of the things that we call corruption, it's not corruption as much as it's just incentive based. Society is just incentivized to, for example, not go into this industry, not say these words. And most people follow those incentives because when you do, it's beneficial and profitable. So I like to look at the world in that lens, and it makes things a little more bearable when you do. Said
mm,
this bullet says we overprescribe opioids and wonder why we have an opioid crisis. Indeed, and that's another difference between
no,
opioids and cannabinoids. First of all, these are synthetic opioids. We're talking about natural cannabinoids, but these synthetic opioids are addictive. They're and these cannabinoids are arguably not. There's research to show there is not. Um, so Abdullah, what you want to talk about a lot of things tonight?
no. I mean, kind
Take
of
take
based
the
on
mic, my
what you're
friend.
saying, my boy. Um, we're
Later,
talking
Howard.
about
Much love.
like the core of just business and what we got into it for. And as you're talking about what you're doing, I was like, damn, I can't think of anything that I loved that much. Just to know, like, you're so curious. Like, I love learning business, how operations works, how you scale a business, and I love doing the job too, right? But I swear you took it hella far. Like, you really, like, you would sit there for hours. I remember you'd be like, hey, I'm gonna dive in for 10 hours and I'm gonna read a report on, blood level or something. Like, I forget what it was, but like, you've done it multiple times. You're like, hey, can't talk for 10 hours. I'm gonna read a 200-page report on stem cells or something. You're always
I
diving into
essentially
something new.
stopped partying in my mid 20s to start studying science uh, on a very high level. And to the point that you're bringing up, that's what I've transitioned now into the Specker library, which is just me reading those studies, it didn't feel right to just be taking in so much of this information and
Mhm.
not sharing it with people. Because when you read just one scientific study, there's so many little tidbits in there that I want to share with the world and I feel that the world
Mm.
needs to know. That that's why I started with the Specker library, so that I can share with people what I've learned and show them that they can learn that information too. And the way that I form the Specker library is I read the scientific study. The link is at the very bottom,
Mm.
so you can click it and go read the whole thing yourself. And bypass. You can bypass the summary if you want, but for people who aren't super well versed on how to read scientific studies, I made the Specker library to be a great starting point for
And I'm
somebody
going
who
through it right
wants to
now.
learn
There's
these
like
things.
100 different articles on here, like deep
Yeah, I
dives on
wrote,
everything.
and I wrote that in
Like you
like
went
a
in,
little over
dude.
a month. I wrote that.
That was the
Uh,
whole eye twitching thing, right?
I
You
was telling
started.
you, my vision started. I had to stop writing the articles because I was writing so many. I was just spamming multiple articles a day. But what that means is that I have to read the entire scientific study first, then analyze and fully understand it, and then summarize it in normal speak for the
Normal
average
speak.
person to be able to understand those big science words in the study. The way that I learned it, I would just read the studies, and if I found a word I didn't know, I would just research that word, and then you go down another rabbit hole for an hour, and then another, and then another. But to save people that trouble, that's why the Specker library is there. But yeah, what you were saying, I would have written thousands, because I've read thousands of these scientific studies. So I would have kept going if it were not for me valuing my health over my work efficiency, because I could have busted those out, but
Mm,
I would have lost my eyesight. I'm working on
yeah.
fixing them fully now because I can notice a big difference be- before I was doing that and after. And that's another
So
thing,
I have a question for you.
curing or reversing eye problems is very possible too. And I'm literally doing it right now successfully.
Mhm.
Whereas they say just go
That's
get
dope.
glasses. And it's like, no, I'm not getting glasses, bro. So, reversing eyesight or reversing bad vision and bettering your eyesight through specific practices and lifestyle changes, like not being in front of a computer screen all day,
Mm.
can drastically help you reverse these things. Sorry, what were you saying, bro?
Um, there was a few different things. For me, I really, I just keep taking it back to the business concept of it. Um, are there any things that you've done in the last like 10 years? Because you've gone through the ringer, I feel like, when it comes to owning businesses for whatever legality reasons or operations, or there's always been some stuff that's always been like a blocker, but you'd always kind of push through it. Would you do anything different in the last 10 years, like given like all the laws and the partners and business opportunities that probably came your way?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I Given the fact that in a legislative manner, the moves that I made in my business were primarily dependent on those. So if I could go back, there aren't that many things you can do different given the constraints that you have. And if I were in
Mm,
the normal business world, I would have a much different answer. But given the fact that I just have to go with the flow and take the punches and just try to survive, because that's what being in this industry and this business and doing what I'm trying to do is. It's not as glamorous as people think, uh,
which
because
aspect?
just the survival, just the basic, like,
Oh,
the day to day of a business surviving while you're
Hmm.
trying to promote ideas and ingredients that are not accepted. They're legal, but they're technically not, right? It's like a gray area still. It's not fully regulated yet. And what that does is it puts people who are in businesses like mine in this roller coaster. But that's what you get for pioneering an industry. And I
That confidence, I
it's
love
like,
that,
yeah,
dude.
what could I do differently? Like, I don't know, like meditate more.
Mm,
Like, to like be
yeah.
calmer through it. It's like, I guess, like from a strategic standpoint, like I've had to change my strategy so many times because
Mm,
of the legislative shifts that happen all the time.
mm.
And, like I said, it's like, okay, Specker's going into year 6. And imagine, I've been in this industry for years prior
I
and
remember the other
rolling with the
businesses' names.
punches.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Those other businesses, one was in the props, or what is it, Prop 215 days. So things were
Mm,
so easy and they flowed really well. And then Prop 64 came and then ended all of that. Literally, that was, you see, what
yeah.
you're talking about ended because of legislation. 100%. I started Specker 100% because of legislation. The reason Specker only had CBD and not both THC and CBD was because the government just decided to change their mind again, and I had to just roll with the punches. So there are just multiple angles you could take when you get hit with the punches. I can either
Yeah.
deviate, take these skills that I have, and go into other places where my time and my skills will be more valued and respected and not, censored and just blocked at every turn, for literally just trying to cure people, just using something that actually works. Uh, and that's why I don't give up, because, you got to be a man about it. I'm trying to
Yeah.
achieve a certain goal. You're going to hit me, and I'm not going to let you hitting me keep me down.
Yeah.
So you can keep hitting. It doesn't matter. You keep hitting, I keep getting stronger. And after you do this for so many years, you just realize, yeah, that's all I can do. Go with the punches. Just
Yeah.
take them and learn, bob and weave, and just take a hit. Better answer is that, I just get deeper in my spiritual practices to not let these external business stressors that really fuck with your soul's journey, as you and many or every entrepreneur should know or knows.
Hmm.
Uh, so that's always been the very hard balance of doing business and then trying
Yeah.
to do something that's also leaning very spiritual, and trying to find a balance between the two, because one is very internalized and then the other, which is business, is very externalized. And that's been the hard part, is okay, I'm reverse engineering a goal I have, which
That's,
is,
can I chime in?
yeah,
I maybe this is the way you're leaning, but I really think you should have like a subsidiary or a secondary business where you don't have to put your integrity into this one. This could be more of just like a product that's for the masses, where you sell that stuff that you just think isn't spec or quality, or that might not be there, like, or it might even be called considered like selling out or whatever. Like, I don't know. And you might be like, Abdullah, what do you mean? I really don't know. Maybe more lotions, maybe more, like physical products in the health and wellness, shampoos. You could throw CBD on any shampoo bottle, put a beautiful package on it, and people will buy it. Like, your brand is sexy as hell. Like,
thank you. Yeah, okay, so very good points. And I always say, if I took your advice, I would be a very rich man right
yeah,
now, and I would
yeah,
not be in the positions that I'm in. However, for example, if I'm going to develop a shampoo, I need to develop a shampoo and find every single ingredient, not just the CBD. A shampoo has a bunch of different ingredients. It's an emulsion type uh,
Yeah.
product, which is really annoying and hard and just like stressful to make, like lotion. Um, and if you know about,
And who's bottling,
emulsions in
each.
all
Hmm.
of these different factors. And for me, I like to keep everything in house as much as possible. So if I went into the areas of the market that are trending, I would be making more money. Just simple as that. However, I've
Yeah.
chosen to use my valuable time, right? There's only 24 hours in a day. And in that 24 hours, I can only do a certain amount of
Yeah.
tasks. So I have to make that decision of what does my focus want to be during the day? If my focus wants to be making the world a healthier, happier place, helping
Mm.
people cure disease, helping people get as healthy as possible, then that that's just not, it's just it's very
Imagine the
hard
money you
to.
make from that you could put into your research. Or I'm just thinking devil's advocate right now. Like, you can use all the funds to do all the impact stuff that you really want to do. It seems like you're a researcher by nature. You're somebody that likes to learn and like open people's eyes. Like, it'll allow you to do that. Like, I think if you hired like people to do like little stuff for you and like delegated and you focused, I think you could do that in whatever window of time that you choose. Because these streams are there, dude. I hate to beat
Yeah,
a bush. Yeah.
yeah, no, there, and that's, now my goal is from year 5 into year 10 is that I am very confident about where Speckera is as far as
Mm.
the product development, how it helps people, the reception that I've got back, my confidence on the products. So the way I look at it in the grand scheme of a long-term business is that I needed to take the first 5 years to really perfect the brand and the products, which most companies do not do. Most companies are focusing on sales first, right? So,
Hmm.
one of the beautiful things about being able to self fund your company is that you can take your time and you don't have these investors to ask you
Mm.
about this product and why you want to do this and that product's not popular, so we don't have market research to show this, therefore you're not doing that. You don't have to answer
Hmm.
any of those questions. So I had the privilege, and I just followed my intuition on this, and I still do to this day. And as a result, now going from year 5 to 10, it's going to be more focused on getting Specker more known and bigger. And I know money comes with that. Um, my goal is, and what I've been able to retain to this point, is that I am confident that when people can find my content, learn about Specker, learn about the ideas that I'm talking about, I won't be having the problems that I'm having right now. I mean, the majority of the issues to this point, like I mentioned earlier, has been censorship. And that's censorship from social media the most that really has stopped business growth. Because to this day, you still cannot really talk about cannabinoids and be promoted on social media. And hey, if you're in the chat right now, say what's up to us. There are a lot of people coming in here. Say hello, ask us some questions. We're going to be here chatting for the next few hours. So let us know what's up. Tell us how you're doing. Ask us some questions. Give us a follow. If you follow me and not Abdullah, follow him, please. If you do not follow
And
me
vice
and you
versa.
and vice versa. It would be very helpful for us, because actually the point I'm making right now is that if there was no such thing as the algorithm and the social media censorship that we have today, I have no doubt in my mind that I would have already gotten to these places that I would have wanted to be. I am grateful that us freedom fighters have had to deal with such a rough road to this point,
Mm.
because it taught us a lot of very valuable lessons for the next few decades. And if I didn't go through these trials and tribulations to the point where now, okay, we can stream on platforms that don't censor us. So we have those avenues now. And that is just brand new, which is putting us in a state where we can't have really any excuses. My excuse of, well, they're going to censor me here. All right, well, there's another place you can go now. That's really big. So, to the point you brought up, it's like, what would I change? It's like, well, here it is, shifting again, because now there are multiple major social media platforms that don't censor like they used to. And as a result, I'm changing my strategy again. So, I actually had to change my strategy last year, the year before. If you're watching me right now and you see there are times where I am on video and then I have to go off video, it's usually because something happened with social media where it doesn't make sense for me to
It's your
make
Wi-Fi
content.
connection. Come on, bro. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Yeah, so like it doesn't make sense for me to like do it if 9 people see it, kind of thing, like for months at a time, where they shadow ban you and then nobody sees your content. So that's why I'm imploring people to themselves as well use these platforms like Twitter, which really I'm very surprised at the level that's on there right now. It's mind blowing. So they say, why do they censor cannabis products? So the reason is it's very simple. Corporate America follows what the government says. So if the government says, hey, yeah, it's kind of, we're not. So I can talk about it right now and say CBD, THC, cannabis industry. You could talk about these things, right? But if you are trying to be a normal business, that's the problem. So since we're not looked at like that yet, we are half blocked. As a result of being half blocked, the social media companies half block us too. So we can use it, but not fully. Not like every other business. They're going to tie your hands and feet. They're going to kick you on the ground. And then they're going to say, go run the marathon now. And so essentially you're like, all right, I got to figure out how to move like a snail then,
Yeah. I mean, but at least now they have the blueprint, right? They say if you follow these guidelines and, play this role for us,
the guidelines
you could
change.
technically
The guidelines
run.
keep changing. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Every few months, they change their guidelines. One social media company does this, another does that, then they change this. Like, for example, when Elon Musk took over Twitter, that's what he said, that they were going to allow for all this cannabis advertising. And then, boom, they had all these restrictions on actually, you can do this, but you can't do this. You can do so. It's like, okay, you can do the same thing on Facebook and Instagram. You could advertise a CBD lotion, but you have a bunch of restrictions on what you can and can't say. If you're advertising a magnesium threonate, brain health, sleep, whatever synthetic supplement, you could say whatever you want. There are no restrictions on these things on social media, like there is for cannabis compounds. It's very unfortunate, but once you understand the really big picture, and I mean, it's a business, incentives, business. I don't expect people who work at big pharma corporations to go become an activist for cannabinoids because they know they work better, because their incentive is to their, highly paid job, and it's going to stay there. So that's what I think is, I was saying earlier, it makes things a lot nicer when you can look at it that way, because it makes solutions a lot easier to figure out. Because when you look at it and you think, okay, if it's just an incentive-based issue, generally speaking, and not a philosophical thing, the people who work at these big corporations, we know them. They're our friends, they're our families. They're not evil people, right? They're like, yeah, I get a really good job,
Mhm.
That's typically, there are some people who are ideologues about it, right? But generally speaking, it's like, hey man, they're paying me an awesome paycheck and they take care of me and all these. So, it's an incentive. So I always tell the activists is that if you want people to get on your ideas more, you have to give them incentives. So that's why I look at Bitcoin, for example, as a really great example, because we gave people a tangible, well, since Bitcoin's not tech, a an actual use case of these certain ideas that could benefit them in their own lives. And as a result, people started using Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, right? Because the incentive was there to use Bitcoin, where I could send it to you at 2 in the morning instead of waiting until the morning for the bank to open, right?
Mm. The game done
So,
changed.
you want to read some of these comments? Hi, Amir. Hello. What's up, everybody? Say hello if you're in the chat right now. Love
What's
you,
up, Ricky and
Amir,
Isaiah?
and you're new to me, Abdullah, but love you too. We got a lot of love out here when we do these streams. We try very hard to make this as a safe space, as safe of a space as possible to talk about issues that otherwise may not be as easily discussed in our current society. Would you say that's a right way to say it, Abdullah?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, we have a pretty good lens on stuff, I think. Um, I do want to pull it back to the just Specker as a whole. You down for that?
Yeah, bro. I'm always down to talk about
All right, cool.
speckerhealth.com. You should check it out right now. We just launched our new Specker Health assessment, which you can see on the front page of speckerhealth.com. And the Specker Health assessment is a personalized health assessment that will help
So yeah,
you
let's talk about that. Hold on,
choose
yeah.
the best Specker
When did you
product
launch
for
this?
you. Literally today, when I was texting you earlier. That's when it
I
was
gotta do it.
launched.
I'm excited. That's crazy.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So
So
what happens exactly? Do I get you break down like what's wrong with my body or what I like a plan?
that's better. All right. So I am my goal with Specker, one of my many goals is one of my many goals with Specker is to create a platform where people can reclaim their health and become the master of their own health.
Mm.
As a result, the systems that I built into Specker, like the Specker library or the Specker health assessment, are designed in a way to give that back to the customer. And the Specker health assessment essentially goes through a handful of different health problems that people suffer from. And you can go mark in what that is real quick, very simple. And then it will give you a personalized recommendation for the products recommended to you based off of your personal answers. And every
I love that.
response is different and personalized to you. So if you go and take the health assessment 2 times and change one thing there, or even if you do the same, yeah, it's personalized. It's
Yeah, yeah.
for every person,
I'm
and
assuming it's gonna expand on its offerings and suggestions based on all the new products you're eventually gonna be putting out. I know we mentioned a few things
they're
in the
linked.
works.
They're directly linked to all the new products because all the new
Yeah.
products are targeted products, which is energy recovery and sleep. Those are our first targets, and the health assessment will link you to the targeted Specker products that we recommend are best for the given issue. So, you'll go
Love
in
that.
there, and if you have bad sleep, we'll recommend you the sleep. If you have really bad sleep, you're going to get
Yeah.
recommended spec or deep sleep drops. And
Oh wow.
so, we designed this system to make it as easy as possible for the user to have the most efficient and best experience possible in their health. Right? Because when you're doing this, it's you're on Specker and you're buying Specker products and on the website learning about these ideas because I'm assuming you're doing it for yourself or somebody you
Yeah.
love.
I
And uh,
I would love if we can kind of like right now between you and me play the role of what that technology is. Like maybe you kind of give me an assessment and then I give you answers and then you can kind of suggest to me what would work. I know I have these products, but do you know all the questions off tops? Or I'm sure not even just
yes,
for that, but like even just
I
to figure out
do.
like a solution for me. I have sciatica issues, I have back spasms. Um, we've talked about the nutrition. But yeah, or is that something that
So
Specker
I would,
will you
like
guys
for
dive into all that
you,
down the line?
yeah, let's talk about that. I mean, for you, just based off of what you said, it would be Specker Deep Recovery drops, Specker Pain Relief Lotion would be your two angles to go down. Uh,
Mm,
my thought process is that if you're already being recommended opioid-based medication, then you've gotten past the regular recovery dose and you need to go to the deep recovery dose. And the
mm.
difference between regular Specker recovery drops and Specker deep recovery drops is the recommended targeted dose of the recovery is 60 milligrams, and it's 200 milligrams per recommended dose for the deep
Oh,
recovery.
wow.
The deep recovery
Okay,
is the one I personally use myself as well. Um, got it right here. Took it before
nice.
we started because, as you know, I'm a high level athlete. I'm, as a result,
Yeah.
I gotta take care of this body. So yeah,
You're like
with
2% body fat now.
so 10%, I'm way under 10%, my boy. I
I
think
said 2%.
2%. Oh,
As
I
a
was like
joke. You're
10%, bro.
probably
I
at
was
like
like 10%. I'm at
6.
like I think 6 to 8. I walk around. Yeah, I try not to go, and that's year round too. So it's important to note that the health lifestyle that I live and that I recommend to others to live, my methods, uh, result in some pretty awesome outcomes to where
Mm.
I am just shredded, generally speaking, year round, even when I'm not training super hard.
I remember the other
So,
day when I saw you, remember? I was like, you just had veins everywhere, and I was like, "Damn, dude,
oh
good for you."
crap, we got. Sorry, give me 1 second. I think we just lost. Did we just lose that? Yeah, we did. Okay, one
No?
second. I'm gonna replace this battery real quick because I
Yes,
believe
sir.
I think I'm
Are we
good.
still on IG? Yeah, we are.
Yeah, we're still everywhere. My IG is fully to go, and then I believe that this just must have brought. I hope that's what happened. Let's see, and I hope that we didn't. Okay, there we go. All right, we're back. All right, I don't know when that cut out, so give me 1 second, Abdullah. Let me.
Mhm.
Awesome! I caught that right when it happened. Let's go.
Mhm.
Um, okay. All right, we're back on track. Let's go.
Let's go.
Um, Sorry, what were you saying?
Um, Nothing
Before
right now.
this, just before this, we were just having this conversation before
Oh, you were just kinda, like, playing role of, like a
Oh, health
like a
assessment. Let's go.
coach.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay. So check
exactly.
this
Yeah.
out. So check this out. This is a very
It's my
important.
little brother and my sister-in-law are in this, and they're both in the health field,
Hey.
so that's pretty cool.
Oh, then they should
Yeah,
definitely be here to hear me talk about the
yeah,
master regulatory
my
system of the human body that is not taught in
that's so
medical
funny.
schools. Yeah,
My brother's a
endocannabinoid system.
PT, and my sister-in-law, she's a RN. So,
Oh, perfect. This is
yeah,
perfect for them to hear. All right. So here's my recommendation, Abdullah,
he
is
might,
that
yeah.
my health blueprints and recommendations are not buy my products. Buying my products will definitely help. And I always say, these spectrum
Yeah, I
products,
meant
great
just
place to
overall,
start.
even yeah.
And it's always a total full spectrum. So, for example, if somebody's like, "Man, I really want to cure my sciatica," I don't know if that's you because you haven't said those exact words to me yet. I'm just saying, if there's some guy who's
I
like,
have, yeah, yeah.
"Okay, so he's saying it right
I
now.
have inflammation, yeah.
All right,
So I
we're
had a
hearing it right
herniated
now.
disc. So
Abdullah
check this
wants
out.
to cure it. You want to cure? Say it right now, and then it's
I
gonna
want
go
to
away
cure it. Yeah.
100%. There we go. That's the first
All right.
step. Go
So
ahead.
let me tell you. So I had a herniated disc or something, and then because of that, it didn't heal properly or whatever. There was
Mhm.
some swelling, and because of that, there was some nerve damage with the sciatica, and then that's led to back spasms. I've had it twice in the last month, and literally I couldn't even walk. I couldn't stand up. Like I'm laying down, and if you like even move your body a little bit, it's like this pain that goes all the way down your legs and all the way up your back, and it's like that shit
Used to
sucks.
have used to have that myself, and so actually that's why me and Howard got connected, the guy in the chat earlier. It was
Mhm.
because I was trying to fully reverse the like shooting freaking up and down like pains in my. Oh man, that sucked. So I definitely like I resonate with the feeling that you're feeling.
Mhm.
The first answer is that you can use CBD to really help lighten the load of the pain, and you can use it as something that will boost and regulate your endocannabinoid system, which is the master controller of all, or the endocannabinoid system is the primary target to cure nearly all disease and optimize health. So using it will get your body back into a more like it'll bring you into homeostasis more because the endocannabinoid system is a master regulator. So it's a homeostatic regulator, essentially. Your primary homeostatic regulator in your body, which means just bringing balance in your body. It's just a fun way to say, fun science way, and then see the doctor say these words, and then they're like, "Whatever, man. I don't know what you're saying, dude." Like, so that's what I always like. I think it's really important for medical professionals to just like speak more normal and not
Yeah, I
just say
agree.
all these weird
Big
chemistry
ass
words
words. It
and
just goes over my head.
that
I hate
they don't
that.
even understand. Actually, it's funny because
Yeah.
when I ask my medical professional homies, like, okay, what does that mean? They're like, I don't know. Like, dude, what the like? Why are you saying
You're
like
like, come on.
antioxidant? Hey, what is an anti? Everybody says, oh, because I'm like, what's an antioxidant? Like, so
That's
but
hella funny.
the thing is that if you want to 100% reverse the pains that you're having, you have to 100% reverse the lifestyle that you live. And that's
Mhm.
the simple answer. And if I said, hey, man, just go take Specker Deep Recovery and use the pain relief lotion just as much as you can, that's not honest. That's your start. That's the all
Yeah.
right, here's your little push to
It's
get
to
you
get you through the
started.
door. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
but
hey, you're
this whole
trying.
like
Yeah.
multi-year, multi-pronged approach to curing disease and optimizing your health is like, you're gonna have to do regular yoga, which means not like once
Mm.
every 3 weeks. It means like once a day. You're gonna have to
Yeah.
do breath work that's calculated and targeted to those exact areas that you're having pain. You're gonna have to change the way that you live your lifestyle. You have to change your exercise styles. You have to change the way you sit. You have to change your posture. Um, but generally, if you do that for a couple of years, you have to eat healthy. You have to not eat inflammatory foods. So that means minimizing the carbohydrates, eating high animal fat, animal protein diet, so you can have as many essential bioavailable nutrients as you can to really boost your system. So let's see, bro. Too many big words. Yeah, I'm trying to simplify them. So yeah, that's the answer. Like it's actually very, like
So hear me
just
out. Let me tell you what my plan is right now. So based on like what we've been talking about the last couple of days, so I want to get up in the mornings and do a little meditation first thing before I even look at my phone. But you were talking about listening to like a like a YouTube page.
that's not a listen. That's a
I
guided
just
breathwork
yeah,
channel. So like you're saying do
just for breathing. Yeah,
meditation, that is your meditation technically,
that's what I'm
because
saying.
that's going to
Yeah,
put you in and this is why I always recommend to start your day with
yeah.
a deep breathwork session. And shout out to breathwork with Sandy. That's who I recommended to Abdullah. He's an up and comer in the guided breathwork space. One of those
Damn,
guys
there's a whole
who,
space for this. That's actually pretty
oh bro,
crazy.
this is a whole industry, man.
That's
Like
like,
you will,
is it like
because
ASMR practically?
they
Like you
have
have like a
like
cult
there's some
following?
people
Because
who
that's
have like
dope.
really, I mean, bro, it's like you're doing these videos. If you're doing these videos, you're feeling so good, and so you really
Yeah.
appreciate the people who take the time. I tried to make a few breathwork videos, and they are hard to make. So I always say
Mm,
like shout out for getting them good, because they're the easiest things to make, because you really have to know what you're doing, and if you don't know what you're
mm.
doing, then you're going to like throw people down a potentially unsafe path, because these breathwork sessions are elevating your soul and consciousness to higher levels, and you want to be doing those practices in the most intelligent ways possible. So yeah,
Okay.
Sandy is a breath
Yeah.
work. He has shorter videos. The reason I
Yeah, they're
recommend
like
his
20 to
stuff,
30 minutes. I love that. Yeah.
like they're like, yeah, anywhere from like, even he has some that are like, I think 5 to 8 minutes.
Mm.
So really short. If
I
you
have a
can
little
choose the
grass
time.
patch in my front yard. I want to just go grab a seat there. The sun is somewhat there, but it might be there. I really don't know. But we just put grass in recently, so if I have it, might as well sit in it.
I would definitely recommend, and that will be grounding too. You should be as close to
Yeah.
the earth as possible. That's why I go barefoot a
Just
lot.
kind of
But
vibe,
even
yeah,
laying
vibe
in the
out.
ground, like if you lay on the ground, that is really beneficial for you. So you just do that, lay in the sun. Like if the sun's like directly in your eyes, you can just like kind of put something over your eyes. Just lay
Yeah, like a
down,
towel. Yeah.
just completely on your back. You can do it seated up like this, but these breathwork sessions are very blissful. So oftentimes you're going to want to, especially when you're starting, you're going to want to like just lay down. So that's why I recommended doing it
All
laying
right,
down
cool.
to
So,
start. And then, yeah, that only takes like, 10, 15, 20 minutes of your day. Sandy's good because, like I was saying, he has the short videos. Eventually, when because it's a muscle thing too. Like you're working out here. So
yeah.
you could look at your abs are going to start getting much better looking by doing daily breathwork sessions, because just pull your stomach in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. Like you're doing that a few hundred times at least in
Mm.
these breathwork sessions, right? So as a result, that's one of the ways that is I guess, a secret to staying shredded, is if you're doing breath work a lot, you are constantly working these front muscles and just like expanding and contracting,
That's a really good way to
which,
put it.
yeah, my results show it helps a lot with my abs, because I could
I'll see
see
if
it after
that.
I'm done with a long breathwork session. I come inside and I'll look, like, I'm vascular, like very vascular after like a long deep session. So it's like a workout. But yeah, you start like 10, 15 minutes and then you work your way up from there. You could do an hour session, 2, 3 hour sessions, but that's what I was saying. Like
All
it's
right,
just like
so
any exercise. So you work your way up.
sure. All right, cool. No, I love that. So once I do that, now I give myself, I'm like intermittent fasting kind of, not really, not like that strict about it, but I'm just trying to find a 5 hour window every single day to have two meals and that's it. Um, I really want to like cut it down. And then every single first meal is about the same. It's the fun stuff when it comes to like the keto life. It's just hot dogs, turkey bacon, and eggs. Um,
What's wrong with
I
that?
gotta I love it. It's fun. It's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Other
Yeah,
than the bird, that's not very nutrient dense, but it's an animal product, so nothing wrong with turkey.
yeah, yeah. It's a you gotta taste good too. But
That's great. Those
Yeah.
are great
And
things
then
to break your
the
fast with. I thought
second
you were
meal,
gonna say like
yeah.
some sugar or some carbs or something. I was
No, no. I'm gonna have a coffee and I might throw a little creamer in there, but I learned that from you, the creamer aspect of it. You recently put me onto some of the best coffee I think I've ever had in my life. There was no acid. It tasted great. It was like filled. It was almost like a smoothie. Like it went down
yeah.
and you felt it. It was great.
Yes. Yes, because I used raw milk and raw cream in it, so it's very nutrient dense.
I
It's
need you to send me
full.
that list, the link to the Sprouts one.
Yeah, and this is for anybody watching, if you're in California, you can go to almost any Sprouts across California and the major cities and find yourself raw dairy, high quality raw dairy from a company called Raw Farm in Fresno. And I have been getting raw dairy from them for over 10 years now. And their standards are very high. There are a few things that they do I wish were better, but
Mhm.
nobody's perfect. But generally, like they are, as far as a raw dairy company, because you have to realize being in the raw dairy industry is very similar to being in the cannabis industry. The government cracks down on it all the time. It's kind of illegal, kind of legal, very gray area. So if you're somebody who's been in this game for over a decade, then you're a real one, and you deserve uh, the success that they are now getting. Actually, they're very big. Uh, the
Shit, you
keto
know you
talk.
made it when you're at Sprouts, dude. Like that's good for them.
Well, get this: Sprouts back in the day, or they're still like that. Sprouts is really cool because they give small companies a chance.
Mm,
And other grocery retailers like Whole Foods, you have to be a bigger company.
yeah,
But
yeah.
Sprouts does a very good job at having very localized supply chains with local companies. And that is how they got into Sprouts. And they've never been in Whole Foods once that I've ever seen,
Mm,
because
interesting.
Sprouts said, "Hey, I'm assuming this is what happened. It's like we'll take the risk on your raw dairy," and then the other company said, "No way, we're not. We're not. That is not federally regulated in the way it's so we're not touching that." And that's why I say shout out to Sprouts. That you can't find. Actually, you can find raw farms in Texas too. They're cheese only. So you can send cheese, I think, but I don't think you could send raw milk across state lines. So you see, these laws are stupid. But yeah, shout out to Raw
All I
Farms.
yeah.
That's the name of the company. Also, if you're in here right now, say what's up. We're streaming on multiple different platforms. We have multiple different people here right now. Yeah, let's continue.
So,
Uh-oh.
so my throughout the day, I try not to snack. So mind you, my dieting comes and goes hella like pretty often. So, but on my good days, and I've been on this grind now for like about like 2 months now. I've been doing much better. Um, the second meal is where I start to fuck up. You know, the carbs kind of kick in, and I got my little girl around, so sometimes we have some carby meals, and that's something I'm trying to cut out. I've done a much better job since we've been back. We took a long trip to the East Coast. We got back about 2 weeks ago, and since then we've cleaned up a lot. We haven't had any chips in the house. We've been pretty clean about all that stuff, and just sometimes the breads get in the way. But um, I'm almost at 0% now, so I'm pretty proud of that. But um, yeah, being satiated is the hardest part after that second meal or that fifth hour of eating, you're kind of like, damn, should I keep going? But I think I'm still so early in the journey.
Yeah, and I mean it's a years long journey as well. You're not going to be perfect with your dietary blueprint and keeping it perfectly consistent. It took
Hmm.
me many years actually to get to real consistency to where I didn't crave sugar. Took me
Mm.
years actually, because a lot of people are like, "Oh yeah, you go keto for a couple months and then like all your sugar cravings just go away." I was like, "Bitch, what the fuck are you talking about?" That took me like a good 3 years or so, like a good 3 years before I was like, all right, dude, I would much prefer this piece of cheese and steak over this like candy. It was candy because I already had given up things like bread and beans and my paleo days. So it took me like, so I guess my elimination went like over 10 years. And I eventually got
Mhm.
to the logical conclusion of my ideas, which is if I was keto, what is keto? It's a fat based diet. Well, what kind of fat? It's an animal fat based diet. Okay,
Mhm.
then why would I be eating plants? Okay, then you learn about how all plants are harmful to humans in one way or another. So essentially, I just took the logical conclusion of the ideas I had already been adhering to for
Kind
years
of. Mhm.
prior to be like, okay, I'm not eating bread because it has high in anti-nutrients, it doesn't absorb well, it's so all these things. But then I just took the logical conclusion to, well, why would a spinach or a broccoli or avocado or an almond be any different? And it's not. Actually, a lot of those are just as bad, if not more destructive and unhealthy than the general carbs that we're used to. So yeah,
Yeah.
if you just like have a carnivore blueprint, you could eat whatever you want, is what I say when you're first starting. If you're carnivore,
Mhm.
just you eat until so you're saying you're like, I'm not satiated. Well, the first thing you have to do is you have to get your body to be metabolically flexible so that you do have fat adaptation, so that you can get full and your body can recognize full off of fat and protein. And the problem with keto and not carnivore, and there's distinctions. I think keto and carnivore, it's in the same school. Carnivore is a keto blueprint. It's a form of a keto blueprint.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
the keto diet that people learn about on the internet, that is essentially a plant-based diet. It's like a high protein plant-based diet, and that's not what keto is. That's not what ketones are. That's not what ketosis is. That's fat. Those are fats.
Yeah.
So that means you have to have an animal fat-based diet, and then they're like, "Oh, but I eat avocados." Like, that's not what I'm talking about. That's a carbohydrate. Like, I consider a carbohydrate. I consider an avocado a carbohydrate, uh, because it is. So I guess the carnivore world just fully admits like, hey, this is
You're
what it
just
really is. Like,
yeah.
you have to eat the animal fat, and that's the part that's giving you the fuel. So all these people who say keto didn't work for me, I look at their blueprint and I'm like, yeah, that you did not.
Yeah.
That is not. And then also, did you notice how I said you have to become metabolically flexible? I didn't say you have to go into deep ketosis. No, you have to have a metabolically flexible body that can efficiently break down carbohydrates and can efficiently break down proteins and fats, like amino acids, fatty
Mhm.
acids. So that's generally what you're going for. And if you're too keto or you eat too many carbs, then you're not metabolically flexible. So my thing is achieving metabolic flexibility so that I can both survive and thrive. You don't want to be that person who you go to like your vegan friends party and all they have are seed oils and carbs, and you eat it and then you get sick.
Yeah.
That actually happened to me recently, and I ate the vegan food and I proved another layer of my metabolic flexibility, that I could still handle those types of foods. It's not like I'm going to go eat them all the time, but I
Sure, it was just that
will
day, that
integrate
meal.
them in. I'm not gonna say like, no, I don't touch carbs for 10 years. Like, that's not that smart, you know?
Yeah.
So then, like,
Yeah.
when you eat a carb, your body's
You'll
gonna have a hard
fucking break
time
down.
recognizing
Yeah.
it. That's actually one of the you'll hear vegans will say dumb shit often, like oh yeah, I ate like a piece of this and then like it just made me so sick. Oh, you mean you haven't built the enzymes for a specific compound to break down for years and years and years and years, and then you put that specific compound in your body, and you do not have the enzymes necessary to be able to break that down, and as a result you feel kind of, oh my god. So all these things can be scientifically described.
Yeah. So, I have an off the wall question. For my diet, can I go buy those cheese wraps as a substitute
Cheese wraps?
for? Yeah, it's
Ah,
like,
that's bro, that's like okay, so this is a
it's all
nutrient-dense
packaged
diet.
stuff. Yeah,
That's not like real food. That's denatured processed food essentially.
yeah. But they sell it
So
at Whole Foods.
I was like,
They sell it at Trader Joe's.
like you know what you could do? This is what I like. You could literally just go get a bunch of shredded cheese, go put it on a pan yourself, and then make it yourself, and then it'll be fresh,
Oh,
and
damn,
you'll know
I
where
don't
it
even know how
came
to do that.
from.
How do you so what, you just throw
These are
cheese
the
on a
things you
pan?
get to learn when you're a carnivore. You get to learn all the different
So throw cheese
cheese
on the pan, that's it?
concoctions.
Some
Yeah,
butter
bro,
and
like
cheese?
dude, like you can make your own cheese tortillas and cheese
Oh, you
taco
just blew my mind.
shells with yeah, bro, I'm telling you, the carnivore world when you
That's
uh
fun, bro. You're
go
telling me I can
down the
eat cheese
cheese
and meat all day?
experiments, yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I
that's
eat,
pretty sick.
like cheese
I
and
love
meat.
that. Yeah.
Like my dinner tonight
So
was
that's what I'm
eggs,
trying to
cheese,
incorporate,
meat,
yeah. That
ground
was my
beef,
breakfast
cheese,
today.
meat. That's it. And if I want more, I'll eat more. So that's the beautiful thing about this blueprint is that you can eat as much as you want and until you're
Mm,
full. Because then when you're full, you'll be satiated. You use that word,
mhm,
satiated.
mhm,
Satiate satiated means that your body has the nutrients that it needs to be happy, right?
mhm,
So if you have an abundance of animal products, which are high in essential nutrients, then you're just not going to feel a need to snack on the carbohydrates because your body's essentially asking you for a fuel source. And what you're programmed to use as a fuel source is a carbohydrate. So your body says, hey, I need fuel. And then your natural inclination is, all right, go eat a carb.
mm. Yeah, that's the worst. What's your take on, yogurt and some granola? The granola, I do, like walnuts, almonds. That's something
Yeah.
it's like my cheat code. It's a no-no, huh? What about just the yogurt?
Granola is just like granola doesn't even what does that even mean? Like a
I like the
handful of
crunch. Anything crunchy, but I like yogurt a lot.
I like the crunch.
It's the Persian
I'm a
in me.
big crunch fan, bro. So like tonight when I
Give me
made my
some
ground
Rex. What do you
beef,
think? Mhm.
I like seared it a little on the bottom of the pan to like make it crunchy kind of.
Yes, yes.
So you can and like that's what I was telling you, melted cheese. Hey, bro, take like do this. You could take slices of cheese, put them on a cast iron, watch
Yeah.
them fry at the top, and then pick them up with
Flip it,
a
yeah.
spatula, and
Yeah.
then you could eat it like a cracker. They turn into like Cheez-Its.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, that's so
So there are
dope.
so many options that you can use to utilize eating more animal products instead of eating, some processed carbohydrate. So that's what I recommend is all of these, packaged keto carnivore foods, like
Mhm.
just learn how to make it yourself. So if you see a
Yeah,
cheese
yeah.
wrap, just figure out how to make
Well,
that
it seems
cheese
like it's
wrap
a
yourself.
very
That's essentially what
simple
I did.
yeah. Alright, cool, yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna definitely check in with you in a couple of weeks and let you know how it's going.
Yeah, so Abdullah is now officially on the carnivore lifestyle. And we shall see what the success rate is, which so far I have seen a 100% success rate for people who do the carnivore blueprint
Mhm.
properly. There are a
And then
lot of
but
people
anything,
who do not do it
any
properly.
last points on, like, my back for the whole sciatica stuff? Just that deep breathing in the mornings, some yoga. It's
Man, if you
literally
just
6
did
days a
that
week.
every single day, yeah, like 6
Yeah.
days a week, breath work at 7 days, but, like
7
you're
days, yeah.
it's just stretching, like, even
Yeah,
like, you don't
yeah.
even have to go as deep as doing a yoga, even though that's what I would actually recommend, but, if you don't wanna do
No,
that,
my
then you
gym is
could just,
across the
like
street, dude. I could literally take a yoga class every single day, morning or night or
then look
afternoon.
look into yin yoga, YAN. Try to
Mhm.
find a yin yoga class that's a more, gentle, healing style
Mm.
yoga over a vinyasa flow, which is like a power yoga type
Yeah,
thing
yeah,
where,
yeah.
if
They just
your
keep doing
body's
heli
I
poses. Yeah,
yeah, if you're not like in a perfect health and perfect posture, then those classes I just don't even recommend to people until they have
yeah,
like really good posture. But yeah,
yeah.
if it's for your back, that's another reason. Actually, I started doing yin yoga. This journey for me to discover how to fix my back pains was like years long. So
Mm.
yin yoga was one of the discoveries I also had in this journey that showed me just how powerful yoga can be. And this is a type of yoga where you're holding stretches for minutes at a time. I've held stretches for hours at a time
Yeah,
before.
yeah. I love that.
So doing that, there's some
So here, let me read out some classes. Maybe you could tell me if it's stupid or not. One's called Flow. It's a heated yoga class. That's all there is in the description. I've taken it.
nah, that'll be a heated vinyasa flow probably. Don't recommend
Um,
for you right now.
sure, sure. They got a lot of like hip mobility classes, GTX. I'm not doing none of that.
Nah, GTA, nah.
Root yoga, root yoga.
See if it
Let me
says
read.
yeah,
Let me see the
yin would be
description.
the yin or
Tune into your
restorative.
body and breath as you learn to mindfully engage your muscles to support your body with integrity.
That doesn't mean anything. Sounds like pretty SoCal marketing words,
Yeah. Yeah, what the fuck? They got
which they
core
actually
Pilates.
are
Oh, that's
pretty.
extra. Dynamic
Yeah, nope,
stretch.
not down with Pilates.
Yeah.
Not
Glute work.
comparable to yoga, even though for some reason
Yeah.
when you tell people who do Pilates
Hmm.
that you do yoga, they try to correlate yoga and Pilates.
Oh, it's like
That
chiropractors and physical therapists.
yeah, even though yeah, well, I guess they are both very similar in that they can't actually fully heal anything, unfortunately.
What's in
Sorry.
the parameters?
Huh?
They gotta play by the rules.
No, because they're not taught that like
Yeah.
there's no physical therapist or chiropractor that understands curing disease. This is an unfortunate reality. So do you see like the recommendation is very easy. Like my like people just don't want to do the hard work to heal. So then they go to a chiropractor. And look, I went to a chiropractor too during my healing journey as one angle to test out. But physical therapists and chiropractors are not there to cure disease. They're not there to 100% fix you. And the thing is that
You
just saying,
Wait, you
"Hey,
mean
why
to
don't you
say
go?"
you don't think that they generally don't wanna cure people, or they're not equipped to?
I don't think that they even know that that exists. That's the issue. They don't know that it exists.
I don't know,
Like,
bro. That seems a little like
no, I'm
maybe they
saying
might
this.
not be
I'm
able to
saying very confidently.
get
I'm
them
saying this
through it.
very confidently. It's an unfortunate. I hate saying it
Yeah.
because people look at. A question: do you have anything on in your background? Because I keep hearing an echo on in your background. Do you have like any of the other screens that are
It's
open?
No, it's just this phone. It doesn't go to mute. It goes all the way low, but you can kinda hear it.
Oh, I understand. Okay, okay, cool. No worries. So I try to like lighten the load of my beliefs on this topic as much as possible because I try not to diminish people who actually believe that they're helping people because they kind of are, kind of. But for me, I'm all about 100%, not 5%. And the medical establishment, whether it's an MD or a chiropractor or a PT or whatever, it's all the same general philosophy. And that philosophy is not curing disease and finding ways to optimize human health on levels that we've never discovered before. Remember, these are status quo
Yeah.
established. So that's what I'm saying. Like, none of these people, oh, sure, a lot of these people will go into these professions thinking that they will be able to do these things like curing people fully. And then what they find is that their education is too limited to even have the knowledge to do that themselves. So the issue is not that people don't want to know these things. It's that they don't learn these things in school. And what they tell you in their institutionalized education propaganda is like, hey man, this is the end all. We're the best. This is the way. Like, oh, you got this degree, maybe you should go explore all the other avenues as well. No, it's going to promote the angle that you went into, which is why I try to break down belief systems. Because for me, an MD and a chiropractor and a PT, those three things I just mentioned, why is that not just one person? Those are all such simple things that one person can do. Generally
So
speaking, like a
my
general
only
MD.
gripe, yeah. So the way I view it is the only issue that I could find in this entire space is the way it's treated. They treat healthcare like it's a business. I think that's the root cause of all the evil when it comes to anything related to that. We were just talking earlier in the stream about how my medical bill was so high for a quick little visit. Um, these doctors are being forced to see a patient every 15 minutes. And in that 15 minutes, you have to go through somebody's chart, see what their history is. While they might be well intentioned, the system, I feel like that's where it's really fucked up. It's like you could try to like discredit anyone on the ground level, but they're playing it to the best of their ability. It's like you can't break that ceiling, I feel like. I don't know. I'm not in the field, but
I,
I know
you
some
know,
some people in the
I
chat
when
are.
I
I would love
worked
to hear
at
their opinion.
yeah, this is a good point. I
This is a
worked at
really
a
good topic, but
remember when I worked at that dispensary?
mhm.
Bro, we had hundreds of customers a day. I was talking to on certain days hundreds of people a day. And what you're
Isn't that
saying
where you started talking
systems.
to hella people
So I
regarding like
mean, this is the
cancer?
point. This is the point. So people are coming to me because their doctor's not giving them any attention. I'm helping them cure their cancer in how long? I don't know, 15, 20 minutes. So what you're saying, this is why I want to go and teach my ideas in medical school curriculum. Remember, these are incentives, right? This is the whole thing
Mhm.
about business. All right, it's a business. I'm a business in health as well. So, I have certain incentives. You have certain incentives. The thing is that when you talk to doctors and you're like, hey, so here's the biological pathway to curing all disease. It's the endocannabinoid system. Okay, cool. They're not taught that in medical school. That is not in medical school curriculum yet. So, the thing about medicine and science and health is that it changes so fast that it's very difficult for medical school curriculum to constantly stay up to date, constantly updating. But it's my goal to get into that pathway somehow and help teach this to medical students, help write medical school curriculum. This is why I give speeches on these topics now the last few years. I'm speaking on panels with doctors and sharing these ideas with these people. So it's just a matter of time. And that's why I was saying it's like I don't think that these people are bad people. I actually think that they're generally good people and they really believe what they're doing is a good thing. However, if I brought up a police officer, wouldn't
Mhm.
and I said the same thing, wouldn't you be like, yeah, you're right? So essentially, like, okay, the cop really believes 100% in their heart that they are doing a really good thing and their job is 100% moral. And then you
Mhm.
have like this other
Mhm.
side that's like, hey man, like you sure enforcing all these non-violent victimless crimes are a good use of your soul's journey kind of thing. And but again, the system is designed
Wait,
to
can I ask
only
you what's your take? What's your take on police in the United States? You're on fire right now. I kind of want to hear this from you.
I mean, what do you mean? What's my take? Like
Defund,
they're
def,
just
defund the police, or do we
listen,
need
man.
them?
I'm a Ron Paul guy. You know me. We were saying that defund everything before some authoritarian liberals got a hold of old libertarian talking points from Ron Paul 2008 and then recycled them and bastardized them and added a little communist lens onto it. So my whole thing is that my idea on defunding the police would be based off of going into police budgets and uh, lowering budgets based off of bloating and inefficiencies. So when
Mm,
I'm not saying defund the police, tie their hands and feet, and don't allow security services in America, which is what a lot of these liberals are essentially doing in their actions. I still believe in security and protection. And I believe that you need to have men that are very skilled in violence to be able to have a safe society. So, but, if I could snap my finger and the world would change, I would privatize industries. So I base my beliefs off philosophy. It doesn't base I don't base my beliefs off what emotion I feel about this certain thing. So if I say defund this government institution, why would I just say that for that one and not all of them? Well, because I'm just basing my views off some like knee-jerk reaction, right? But when you base your views off actual philosophy, actual principles with actual base to your ideas, you get to just use that and sprinkle it on top of all the things. So for me, it's not just about defunding the police.
Defunding everybody, right?
It's about allowing for
Like,
America and the world to have as much open and free competition as possible to create the best goods and services at the best prices that we can achieve. And that only happens when you allow for open competition and break down monopolies. So, just because
I
the
give you an
police,
example.
like, why would that be any different? An example would be, hey, how do you think the haircut industry
Oh, I
with the
can give you
barber
one.
industry?
Yeah.
Let me give you, like, how do you think the barber industry would look if the federal government created a barber agency? And then they went into the barber business and tried to undercut all of you and came in and they're like, hey, actually, we're the barbers now. Like, do you
Yeah.
think? And then they said you can't, like, it's if you want to be a barber, you have to be a barber to our standard, and you can't make up your own standard, or we'll come after you. If you cut hair
Yeah.
in this way instead of that way, we're gonna fine you because that's not our standard.
Yeah.
So what would happen with hair? Hair would probably start looking very similar. All of these unique styles that we have, the evolution
Are
of
gone.
hair
Yeah.
would not happen, right? So, when people are like, "Oh, police are so inefficient and they're so corrupt," I'm like, "You mean a monopoly is behaving exactly like the laws of economics says that a monopoly is going to behave in?" Which means monopolies. This is just basic economics, y'all. If you monopolize anything, the laws of economics states that prices go up, quality goes down. The most monopolized government services, police, justice. And then if we look at the most open industries, like the cannabis industry, we find that they're the most evolution that exists. Cryptocurrency. Look at the rapid evolution AI, the rapid evolution we see when there's free and open or kind of open competition before the government comes in. So again, it's a philosophical issue. It's not about defunding as much as it is about we should open up the market so that there can be competition in the policing industry more. And this is the debate will come to it just comes down to do you believe that the government should reserve monopolies on certain industries? And that's where the political spectrum comes in on left and right. Like, how far left or how far right are you? Like, one side will believe that everything should be nationalized and regulated and controlled by the government, and it should be a government thing, and that's communism when you nationalize industries.
Yeah.
And
Okay,
then
so I
when
have a
you
question
go,
about that. Let's say there's a collective effort that needs to be had to make something move forward, like, I don't know, climate change or something. In I guess in your point of view, how does that even happen if everything is privatized? It's just interesting to me. I don't know the answer to it.
I mean, the answer is that the real answer is not a direct answer. It's that, do you know how a pencil's made? Like, can you tell me the whole like supply chain of where the rubber comes from, where the yellow paint on the edges comes from, where the lead comes from? And can you
No.
right, like, and that doesn't
No.
really Like that, all you know is that pencil somehow comes together spontaneously, and I can afford that pencil that
Yeah,
has components that came from all different areas of the world. And that pencil comes to my hand for, I don't know, 10 cents, however much a pencil is.
sure.
How does that happen? So the real answer is you don't really have to worry about that unless you want to go into deep industrial economic data,
Mm,
but it's like, okay, how does essentially what you're asking is like, how does society move without saying I'll kill you if you don't do this, or I'll fine you if you don't do this? The world works like that all day, every day. So
mm,
your work works like that. My work is like that. Everybody in society generally behaves like that to get ahead, except the government. So I don't think it's too extreme to say that the government should have to play by the same rules as everybody else and not have immunity because they're in the political class. So, the way it's like, okay, how do those things happen? How do we get masses of people together? Well, big corporations do that every day. They like,
they pay them.
how do container ships get from China to America? There's millions of dollars from different companies, just all
Mhm.
comes together without the government saying you have to do this. No, it's businesses, logistics companies come together.
Yeah.
So if people are watching this and you want to learn more about the actual philosophy of this, it's called spontaneous order. When you leave people to their free will, people spontaneously come together to create the most efficient outcomes. When you add government and monopolies into that mix, all of that flow and beauty gets destroyed. It's a very spiritual thing too when you
Mm.
think about it. So
Damn, that's crazy.
did that answer the question?
It did. It did. It did. I think there's so much that could still be learned about just all these different political movements. It's not. I don't think the sphere is left to right. There's really a lot of different variations and dimensions. I feel like, um, but one thing's for sure, like for people to like really grow in the rankings, they really got to go viral quick now. Like the AOCs or the Viveks of the world, like they actually have really dope marketing campaigns behind them. Like I think this new era of politicians, they've started to utilize social media to an extent to where it really reaches the masses, and they're growing really fast now.
Yeah, this is to the point of, our generation. This is our show now. And, guys like Vivek and AOC, they are literally our generation, right? So they're, I don't know, like a
Yeah,
few years older than us, I think,
younger,
around our
older,
age.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So we're utilizing the same thing. It's our show now. Millennials and younger, Gen Z, you come on into it. You guys are cool. But like the boomers and above, it's like I think everybody's realizing now that boomers and above are getting way too old, as we see with politicians like the president of the United States, Joe Biden, Dianne Feinstein, just these people that Mitch McConnell. I'm not biased towards one side. I'll go after both.
Yeah.
So
Shit, even Trump is 77, and that boy,
he's 77. Like, if somebody said, if
he's
like
wide body.
realistically speaking, as much as I love Ron Paul, if somebody told me Ron Paul is closer, he's getting close to 90 now, I think.
That boy's hella old too. Yeah.
So if somebody told me, hey, Ron Paul is going to be, he's 88. If somebody told me like, hey, Ron Paul is going to be president right now, it's like, hey man, I don't know if an
I'm not
88
down for
year
that.
old,
Yeah.
I like, no matter how much I like somebody, and that's what I'm trying to tell my Democrat homies. It's like, guys, it makes y'all look bad for future elections by not stating the obvious. Yo, our
But what's the
guy
alternative?
has dementia and he needs to go. But instead, they do what they always do. It's like, oh, Obama's a war criminal. Well, I guess we're all defending war now. Like, bro, you guys can deviate from the plan when they're clearly doing things that they said they wouldn't do during election season.
Mm.
So, Obama said he was anti-war, right? And then the drone king, right? So,
That's so fucked up.
and that's like another thing that, it got like swept under the rug. And then everybody's like, oh, Trump
No.
is so bad. It's like, hey, man, you mean he inherited all those wars that Obama, like, so that's actually an important note too. Like, I'm not a big fan of any
You could say the
politician,
same thing
but
about Obama and Clinton, and then
they
you
all
could
started
take
wars. You know who
Bush
didn't start a
and
war?
the Bush
Trump.
Senior.
Trump did not start a war. He did not start a new war. And I have to give credit where credit is due. And this is what I implore people who are always looking at the negative. And we're talking politics. We're all full on politics now. Good timing. To the people who are always just, politics is such a negative game. If you're in politics and you're just constantly looking into the negative, just go into the silver lining, right? Go just try to find the positive. All right, these are our options. All right, these guys all took us into new wars. This guy didn't. All right, well, good job for not creating a new full-scale war, man. Great. So there are things where, even if you have a seething hatred for somebody, just chill out for a second and try to find the beneficial areas in what they're doing. I'm trying to do that with the regime that's
Can I
running the
can I
show
just
now,
bring
and
up one
I
point?
can't find much, but I'm still trying with the
Sure.
Democrats to find something else. I don't know, you tell me.
So you think that Donald Trump left the United States in a good place with as it pertains to the Taliban and Afghanistan and other types of scenarios like that? What there
I
might not
wouldn't
have been
say
a
a
war at
good
that time.
place. Yeah,
There's
I
a
wouldn't
few
use.
different examples similar to this exact one, but I don't know.
I would say that what Donald Trump showed in his presidency is that America is respected when America is strong and led by a strong man who will show that he will fuck shit up. Now, this is important to note. For people who think that a president should be this pacifist type person, hey, y'all, open your eyes. A president is a warlord. What a president means is that you elect the top warlord, okay? So their job is not to.
Historically, you're right. Yeah.
You're the commander in chief. When you become president.
Yeah, I can. No.
Hey, you hear
Oh,
me?
there we go. Yeah, there you go. You put me back in.
Let's
You
go.
blocked me.
So it says we got a comment here. It says Dawn embarrassed USA internationally. So yeah, let's talk. I mean, that's the thing. Like, I can sit here. Hey, man, if you guys want to go look at my old social media posts from when he was president and from before he was president, you'll.
Who said that? I don't see it.
Hey, you
There
hear
we
me?
go. There we go.
There we go.
Yeah.
Hey, all right, we're talking politics now. Hey, guys, put your opinions in the chats. We're going to be talking politics, and we're going to find ways to find common ground now. So, I think that, yeah, you're like, is it a good thing? I don't know about good or bad. It's just in state. It's statecraft. So there is no morality in statecraft, right? Statecraft, empire games. This is all unethical, immoral premise generally to start from, right? Like, you're the commander in chief. That means you could just drop nukes on people. So that's not, like it. So it can be seen from multiple different angles. And, the way I just try to look at it is like, yo, this is statecraft, y'all. We're not talking about like our interpersonal relationships here. This is statecraft. It's a monopoly on the use of violence, and the game is to be the best and strongest one. So when you're electing a president, generally it seems like what the Trump administration showed was that when you go after certain countries, who are not very nice to their people, and you speak to them like you are the top warlord on the planet Earth, because the commander in chief of the United States is arguably, the most powerful person in the world, right? Or so we like to think on the front end. But what we saw when Trump was president was minimal deaths of U.S. soldiers in Afghanistan. Violence was coming to an end. Troops were being minimized and slowly being pulled out. And look, as if you guys are watching this, as I'm saying this, I'm not like promoting. This is like just objective history, right? So, I'm just talking about objective history, and this is the problem when you talk about politics. That's why we're bringing people together, because if you're the type of person that's going to just like hate on somebody for bringing up an objective fact, like, yeah, deaths minimized. Yes, he was ending the war in Afghanistan in a more intelligent way than Biden did. Objective reality,
I
Um,
don't on that one. I don't really think so, because the year before he left office, he met with the Taliban and pretty much he set it all up for it to kind of play out this way. And it was one of the first things Biden had to kind of. He did it really wrong, but I feel like it was set in stone for this like handoff to have happened. And I don't know. It just seems like there wasn't really much of a way for them to avoid like a disaster in that country if that didn't happen. I might be completely wrong here, but like
no, you're
I
you're
know it was
right.
something that was like set up prior to all this happening.
The Biden administration went against that plan. It was a more like they just got up and left. That was not the
There was no planning.
plan.
Yeah, they just did.
That they're
Yeah.
just like, all right, peace, we're out, and without any plan to help so many of their allies that risked their lives for 2 decades to help the Americans. So there were so
Mm.
many Afghans, that's the way I look at this whole Afghanistan pullout thing, is that we could look at both sides and say that the way that this side did this pullout was a disgrace to America and a disgrace to Americans, because that represents us. I mean, it's bad enough that America went in there and occupied for 2 decades almost and forced their way into Afghanistan
Mm.
and arguably committed horrible crimes against Afghan people, right? I mean, we can look at I don't think people even say this, but I had I just heard this recently. There was like the genocide of the Pashtuns by the Americans, and I was like, wow, I've
Yeah.
never heard somebody say it like that. But
Mm.
when you actually think about it, yeah, Americans were, they were essentially, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but the war in Afghanistan is like kind of like, ethnic groups versus each other, right? In a sense.
It's like 16 different gangs from a pretty
Yes.
large and mountainous region. So like they don't communicate. There's no lines. F- It's been very recent that like these tribes have come together. Like it hasn't
Yeah.
been like a forever thing. So in a dream world, it'd be a bunch of different countries, smaller countries. I think that's the only. That's my personal opinion that I think Afghanistan will be in its finest place when they can decide to choose for themselves. Because I hear so many different stories that come from the big cities, but it's totally different from people in the rural areas and good,
Just
bad,
like America.
whatever. Yeah, yeah, I agree. So it's very interesting dynamic, but I feel like that's probably the only ultimate goal. But I'm not into politics like you
And that's
probably are,
the
other
the
people are.
point the
So
point that I'm
that's
making
just
is,
my view.
America being there for as long as they were just uh, elongated the inevitable outcome that the Taliban were going to take over. So,
Yeah.
all right, let just the natural course of things happen, and then give the people there the self-determination and free will to do whatever they want next. And whatever happens next happens next. What I'm trying to do is try to be more accepting of other people's lifestyles. Like, I might not
Mm,
approve of it, but if you all over there want to live like that, and like the general consensus is that's cool, because the way I look at things is that if you have a certain issue in your country that you don't like and politicians are acting a certain way, generally speaking, there's a mandate from the people, which means that there are enough people that actually believe in those ideas to where there could be a government that can exist. Because if enough people didn't have those ideas, they would take care of that government and replace it, historically
Mm.
speaking. Somebody says, Gatana Ranja on Twitch. What's up? Says Don loved kissing the dictator's asses. You are right. Putin's and Kim embarrassing. Don doesn't trust his own intel. Why would he? Always knows best, right? Embarrassing narcissist. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is that if you're a politician who has the balls to meet with anybody, I'd say you're a real one. So America was made in a way so that we are open to diplomacy with all nations. So just because somebody's a dictator in another nation, America was designed in a way to do business with everybody and have no allies. That didn't work like that, but original intentions. So we could strive for these things. So um so that's how I look at it. Like, okay, there's the dictators that say that they're going to hurt Americans. If I were in that position, I would do the same thing. I'd be like, hey, what's up, dude? Let's go sit at a table and talk.
Mm.
Like, what? That's the manly thing to do. That's the most manly thing you can do as a leader as well. That's one of the best things you could do as a leader, is to not be afraid of your enemy. Oh,
Yeah.
some guy in this little country over there is saying he's gonna destroy America and blah. Bro, come on, let's go. Let's go have some dinner
I
together.
dare
Let's sit
you.
down. And me saying Trump not meeting with him is not going to make him not exist, right? So they're going to exist. Those bad people, the Taliban, they're going to exist. Like, look, America was there for almost 2 decades. Taliban was there the whole time. They didn't go anywhere, right? So, the way I look at it is that American foreign policy has been very coercive the last century or so, and we need to go back to the original way that America was doing things, which is, hey man, if you want to sit down at the table and talk, we'll sit down at the table and talk. Uh, Simple as that. People are people. You got your own government. We got our own government. Like, we can't go be the policeman of the world, because look, America literally just tried that for over 100 years, and look where it's got us. So many of the problems today in America are literally because everybody's like, oh, look at how much money's getting sent to Ukraine. Did you guys forget about Afghanistan and Iraq? You think the
Mm.
Ukraine money's a lot? Do you know how many trillions of dollars just got spent on the global war of terror, which was just essentially a money laundering operation? So, at the cost of, young Middle Eastern lives and American lives. So when people look at what's happening today on the streets, the homeless problem, hey man, we were warning y'all decades ago that this is if you want to have a bloody foreign policy somewhere else, eventually that's going to come home. And we were telling people that for decades. And now in the 2020s, we're seeing that all start to come home. All right. If y'all are here right now, we actually have like a handful of people here in the different chats. So if you're here, let's hear what y'all have to say. Let's talk a little. Oh, we got somebody who wants to be angry in the chat. Hey, person on Twitch, let's be a little happier. Bitcoin is greater than politics. Can't expect people to not be corrupt. The point of this stream actually is, if you don't like Donald Trump, which, like I said, I don't like any politician really. What we need to do is, there are two options in America right now. We can either go to war with each other, or we could find a peaceful solution. So if you want to go to war with each other, started already. Everybody's just but I would say let's not, and let's find a peaceful solution. And if you want to have a peaceful solution, then you can't be angry about everything all the time. There's going to be no positive outcomes when your premise starts in a place of anger. So yeah, the system of institutionalized government is extremely flawed. We all know this. We all agree
So
on this. So
let's talk about this a little bit. So one of the things that you and I spoke about recently was bringing people together, unity, right? You told me you've had some realizations um, on a deeper level, and you've kind of like I don't know, but my whole thing is how do we get out of where we're at now? How do we stop blaming the other side? How do we start to come together as a group, as people, as Americans? I'm not into politics. This is not my space. I just feel like everyone is kind of arguing at themselves, like, or into a brick wall. Like, no one's listening. There's no change coming. You could look at debates 40 years ago, and it's the same shit over and over again. Like, nothing has changed. What do we expect is going to change that? Or is it just like a collective movement? Does it have to be like people at the top? Like, what's that step? What's like, it's easy to find things to complain about, but like, how do we find those solutions? I'm asking because I don't know. Like, I
Yeah,
want to
no,
be
this is a great point.
like,
I mean, look, like we could literally look at the chat right now and see on one of the streams, like no matter what we say about let's find peaceful solutions, let's love each other, let's just forget about these bad things, like let's just find a way forward. From my experience and what right now is even showing, and as we grow on these streams, it's going to happen even more and more and more and more, and it's going to continue to grow, is that what I've recognized is that there are a lot of people who, no matter what you say, they're just going to want to be in their anger. They don't live healthy lives. Then usually it comes down to that. They usually do not live healthy lives as a result of their unhealthy lifestyles. They find reasons to get angry, and then they find reasons to blame some people in politics that they don't know instead of taking responsibility for their own lives. And it really starts there. If we can get back to what it means to be American, which is really taking responsibility for your own lives, that's the best place to start. So when everybody's blaming everybody else, when people aren't taking control of their health, when people are not being manly and also being emasculated by society, and then it's very hard to get to solutions. So we just need to find as many people as possible who are on this train of finding common ground and go from there. When I was
mm,
in politics, the big successes that we had were from coalition building, where we would build these coalitions. For example, the NDAA, indefinite detention. You remember that Obama was trying to push that. They did
I remember.
during Obama regime. And in California, we got a whole group of people together from different walks of life and philosophical leanings, and we all came together as a coalition with a common goal, and we succeeded. So I guess there's this really good quote. Let me read it to you right now. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed individuals can change the world. In fact, it's the only thing that ever has. That's a
Mm,
Margaret Mead quote. So that's how I look at the future of the world
I
is
love that. Yeah.
we don't need to get a majority of individuals to change the world. The government changes whatever they want, and that is not even a close majority. They get
Yeah.
elected, and then so ultimately I say, focus on your local communities, focus on your friends and family, and focus on yourself, and that's where everything starts. But when you take that even further, again, how can you be happy with your life if you're fat and you're unhealthy, you're sick, you don't have a good job, you don't have good relationships? So, again, the future of America starts with you and looking in the mirror. And if people don't do that, then we're never going to get to the next place, because if you want to bring people together, you have to be generally happy, right? Like if I'm angry all the time, I don't really even want to do much. I just want to talk
No.
shit and you know. So that's why I think health is so important, because if you're healthy, you're just generally in a better mindset, and you generally are not going to be as aggressive. You're not going to want to fight as more. You're going to be happier. So,
So let's say your
that's
mindset's right. Okay. Like, let's say you're in your Zen and you feel good and you're open minded. and you start to look at the political sphere and what's going on in current news and affairs and all that, it's just so much shit. What do you do then? It's a two-party political system. You might agree with 3 out of 5 things on one side, and you might agree with 3 out of 5 things on another side. Like, how do you move forward? I know you said local is more important, so it like is that where that's where the change comes? But like, I don't know. I think you get my question.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. The thing about okay, this is actually really important to note because I talk a lot about constitutional republics using the American style system where the republic is set up in a way where it protects our God-given natural rights and not the other way around.
Mm,
So, for example, with the they say Second Amendment rights. I don't have a right to the Second Amendment. My right is granted to me at birth. The Second Amendment just validates that right and protects
mm,
that right. So the political party thing is a hallmark of democracy. In America, America was founded as a constitutional republic system, and now we've moved into more of a democracy style system, which the founding fathers, many of them, warned against because democracy generally is mob rule. But what a constitutional republic system in America didn't have was the political party system, which is where the democracy philosophy came in and created these political parties and the factions
mhm,
within the
mhm,
republic system. So that's why, the words republic and democracy kind of like flow into the same realm, but they're different and they're interchanged a lot, but they're the same, but they're not. They're the same because like they'll grant similar, like sovereign rights, for example.
mm,
But that's why I always say, like we need to have the conversation about what system of government we really want to have moving forward. For me, it's the
mm.
system that I said about the constitutional republic, where the republic is structured off protecting our God-given natural rights. The thing about parties in America is that there is no litmus test to be in a political party in America.
We were just talking
And
about this. You could play
yeah,
both sides of the party. You could really just mask on, mask off it whenever you want.
you could look at that as a thing or a bad thing. But let's look at the benefits. The benefits are that, maybe not you, just generally,
Yeah.
should stop looking at people based off their political parties and actually look at people based off of what they're saying and what their beliefs are. Crazy concept for this modern day. I know, guys, I know, but let's try.
But I need a
Just
label. I need
And
to
that's
have a
what it
label.
is. That's what we need to do. We need to break down this Republican Democrat dichotomy and realize, like, y'all, it's the uniparty. Our generation and younger needs to realize this whole I'm a Democrat, I'm a Republican. It's the uniparty. They all agree on the worst things that oppress us the most. And that's what we need to come together on. But
So
what
do you
they've
think ranked
done,
choice voting is a step in the right direction? Well, at the local level, maybe not at like presidential races, but
like in California, right? California has ranked choice
yeah, all the
voting. Is that
swing
right?
states, all yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Anyone that has it, yeah.
Yeah, I think it could be viewed like the whole voting system that we have today is like pretty flawed. So I don't really say good or bad, but ranked choice voting can help minority candidates become, and when I say minority, I don't mean like a
Mhm.
colored person. I mean
Color,
or
yeah.
people of
It could
color.
be
Sorry,
a
my race.
Republican in a big city. It could be a Democrat in the rural parts of the state. Yeah.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
that is what a Republican system really is. A constitutional republic system is a system that protects individual rights over majority rule. Democracy as a system promotes mob rule. 50% plus one. If 50% plus one vote for it, sucks to suck, bitch. Now you got to deal with it. Hey, man, like, what if that goes against my rights? Doesn't matter, man. It's democracy. So that's why I'm not down for democracy as a system. People who say, oh, I want democracy, man, that's just communism, bro. That's communism with like a couple extra steps. And I'm not down for that. So
wouldn't it make it way more appealing if they had an app where you could say, hey, if you're going to tax me, put it into this shit?
Yeah, they actually, I
could
saw
vote on the app. Boom, let's make it happen.
Well, if they did that, then the government would be overthrown overnight. So if people actually saw where their tax money goes, like it would be over. They can't show you where the exact money goes. And also, I don't think
they're
that
losing
the United
trillions
States,
of dollars and they forget where it goes.
I don't think that they can't even audit their own money. How are they going to show us where the money that they stole from us went when they funneled it to one of their other buddies? So the thing is, if we had more open access to education, we wouldn't be having a lot of these problems. I mean, we're on this stream right now, and I have to literally watch every single word I say. I cannot speak freely. And if I do speak freely, well, we can just look at the Ron Paul revolution. That's what happens when they let people be too free. Hey, go look at Twitter. You guys want to see freedom? You want to see spontaneous order right now? All those topics that have been blocked on these other platforms for the last 10 years, those taboo topics that I can't say the words of here, are on Twitter now. Go type in all the conspiracy theories and taboo topics that have been blocked on YouTube and blocked everywhere else. And now you can talk about it on Twitter. So I think that the next few years are going to get really spicy and really interesting because I know very well what happens to societies that allow a very high level of free speech. And I would say that since the last Ron Paul campaign, they cracked down heavy on that. And now we're finding cracks in their system, and we are going to fuck shit up, man. We're going to make this place a better place. So that's the thing. Like, the system that is in existence today is based off of monopolization and control of information, money. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to free the system up so that every single individual can have the same access to money and knowledge and everything else that one group of people says that you can't have for some stupid reason, but they can have it. See, so again, these are just philosophical topics, really. When you really break them down, it's not party politics or this abortion, this or that, It really comes down to how you view the structure of society. Like, do you think that you should control somebody else? Like, do you think that you should really tell somebody else how to live if they're not being violent? So that's the nice caveat. Do you think that you should tell somebody else how to live if they are not being violent towards you or anybody else? And when you ask those basic philosophical questions, a lot of people, no matter what your party affiliation is, will agree. Hey, man, do you believe that you own your mind, body, and soul? Yes, yes, yes. Everybody says yes when you ask them that question, right? But then when we go into politics, then they say I need to get some experimental drug that'll do bad things to me. So, yeah. I guess, like, I ask you back, do you think that the solution is near? And do you see in your daily life more positivity or more negativity?
In my day-to-day, a lot of positivity. I got a little girl with me, so there's a lot of good times that come around, but yeah, but yeah, I definitely I think I see it in the horizon at the local level, like I was saying earlier. I'm talking to more people that are just in a similar mindset of that I'm in and some of my peers are in. So we'll see what comes of it. I'm not really a political person, and I personally I hope I never become that. I know some people want to be super involved, but some people just don't. It is, however, like really cool to see how our views kind of change as you get older, as you find connection with different people, different areas, different belief systems. Like you get to figure out who exactly you are on a political sphere level. But yeah, I want to see what comes at the local level. I want to like actually be involved. And I was talking to a couple of buddies about that. But the thing that sucks is you have to like choose a gang to join. You know, like what side
That
are you
that's
gonna go
true. That's
fight for?
true.
You know, it's like
That's
fuck,
true.
dude. Like, can I just like be a wallflower for now and go to
And the
everything?
unfortunate reality is it's a statistical improbability to go anything other than the two major parties. Uh, love you, Matthew. Good to see you in here, man. Good night. Um, so yeah, when you choose, yeah, like what you're saying, it's literally you're choosing one gang or the other. But this is this frustrating thing. It's like, you're one gang or the other, but the people at the top of both organizations have the same beliefs. They're the same people, same friends. And then they pit us all against each other and then act like there are all these differences. Like, do you really think that there's a difference between somebody like George Bush and Nancy Pelosi? Really? Like, no, these are the same, like, you know? So
Old money, white America. uh,
we have to realize that we should not play into these games of being their pawns for divide and conquer. But okay, actually, this is a really good point. Local politics is really awesome because in local politics, a lot of the times it's not based off of party preference. So when you go to the ballot, for example, for certain
mhm.
positions, local positions, I don't want to say which positions off the top of my head, but I'll say a few. I think, like, if you're running for water board or something like that, even mayor, I think, because yeah, even when I see mayor elections, I don't see party affiliation. Uh,
I
am I
see it in
like
my town when we
okay? You
had
see,
voting,
yeah. So they're like
but
a
it's not like
handful.
aggressive. It's not like red posters versus
Well,
blue
because
posters. They're all blue.
if you in California, at least, if you're registered Democrat, they're going to give you a Democratic ballot. If you're registered Republican, you're getting a Republican ballot. However, that's only for certain positions. And then there are other positions that are open, and a lot of the times those people in the election time will be like, "Oh yeah, you see my opponent is a Republican," but it's not like the other ones that literally say just R next to your name, D next to your name. So that's the cool thing about local politics is that even if you are in an opposition party, you can still have success breaking through because it's not as much of a party based position. Being in Congress, for example, that's a party based thing.
Mhm.
Um, but being on the water board is not as impacted politically, I guess. But
Mm.
you still have so much like, education board, water board. There are all these local boards that you can run for and get elected to that have wild direct impacts
Yeah,
in your local
local day
community.
to day. Yeah,
Yeah.
which I think that's really at the end of the day, that's the only thing I feel like maybe we can impact more than that, but like that's something you can impact on a more immediate basis, if you know what I mean. Like it's just
That's
something
why I
that's
tell
tangible.
people,
It's
yeah,
right there.
absolutely. People should, that's because, yes, to exactly, you can make the fastest political change at the smallest levels. At the highest
Yeah.
levels, it's inefficient, very corrupt. But at the local level, I mean, again, that's the beautiful thing about the American style system is that it allows for the lowest levels of the system to have high levels of political power, which means, if you're the mayor of a city, you don't have to ask the president of the United States if you can shut down their businesses and lock people in their houses. You do that because you're the mayor, and the mayor did a whatever city code thing, and now
Yeah.
you got a list. Because I mean, look at the lockdowns. That wasn't the top politicians coming in writing bills. It was your local
Mhm.
mayors and
Mhm.
supervisors, your neighbors that were locking you in your house. So, that's why I always say those are positions that are actually easier to win as well, because you don't need to spend as much money. I mean, if you run for federal Congress, you got to drop millions of dollars to win. You could win some of these lower level elections spending nothing. I mean, you could win Congress or higher levels doing that as well, but it's highly improbable. It's much more probable in these lower uh, elected positions, because a lot of the times in an area, there'll just be vacant seats because people don't even know that that position needs a politician. So you could actually even be appointed to certain positions. I mean, if you're in a small town and you go through the, political organization and you see that there's something that's missing, you could hypothetically, and this happens in politics, you could just be appointed. If there's a vacancy, you can just get an appointment. You don't even have to be elected by,
like not one vote coming your way. It's just saying,
and
hey,
actually,
you need a job.
that's a very big unelected bureaucrats is a big problem in America today.
Yeah.
But getting
But that's all at the local level, right? Yeah, that's more people just need to be involved in these areas.
People just don't know that they have this kind of power. So the things that I'm talking about right now are pretty it's monopolized.
That's kind of where I'm at. Yeah.
To the people who are in the know. I was in politics. I worked in politics for years. So I know exactly how the political systems in America work on the back end. And what it showed me was that, holy shit, we have a lot of political power in America comparatively to everywhere else. Because in other countries,
of course, it's a race. It's an arms race to get to the top here. Look, I'm looking at the stat on the 2020 election. $6 billion was spent just for the presidential race. For the congressional, that was another $8 billion. Where do they even come up with that money?
Which is,
it's it's two parties fighting back and forth.
And do you see how dumb that is? You're spending all this money because again, going back, it's about controlling the information. Because if there's a free flow of information, then the people at the top have remember, it's establishment, the status quo, right? So the people at the top need to keep that power on the top. And the people who want the power at the top oftentimes don't want you to know for a free flow of information, because if you did, you're not going to support that person. So, this whole thing, I'm sure you heard, they're like, hey, why doesn't Joe Rogan just host a long form podcast debate as a presidential debate, right? Makes sense, right? Why don't Trump and Biden sit down together?
Didn't that just happen where it was 100 billion viewer or 100 million viewers on, was it a Rogan podcast? It was whatever was on Twitter.
That was a Tucker Carlson. The claim was that it was the most viewed video in social media history. 250 million views. But that wasn't a podcast. That was like a news episode on Tucker Carlson's new X platform.
Show on X, yeah.
But, like, imagine if it's an actual podcast studio with multiple mics, just like Joe Rogan, and you put the two presidential candidates there, and it's like, hey, you're going to get asked tough questions. We're not vetting the questions. So that's the thing. When you go to these presidential debates, like, they know every question. They practice every question. So you're just
it's really just marketing for them. Yeah.
Yeah. You're like, all right, who's the best actor? Who could fool me the best, essentially?
Who spoke the best in the group? Who put other people down?
Exactly. Had the best one-liner. Yeah, made me laugh. So, y'all, if you want politics to be entertainment, the shit show that you see today is exactly because that's what Americans demand. You want a celebrity like Donald Trump to be president, then you should expect the shit show that you guys get. When you bring real life actual actors and make them president, Donald Trump's not the only one. I mean, we've had multiple actors. Ronald Reagan was an actor. So these are it's like, go for serious people. This is why we were so serious during the Ron Paul era, because we knew this is one of the only chances we're really going to get for something like this, to have a real person as president and not just some well-groomed actor, And I would say Trump wasn't even a very good actor in the beginning, and now he's learning more and more and learning more strategies. You could, like, he did an interview with I think NBC this week. I listened to some of it, and you could just constantly hear him stopping himself, catching himself, being really nice. So even Donald Trump had a PR, some PR for his campaign, and some strategy shifts on how he talks. So that's the thing. Like, that's how politics is. And sometimes a really real person breaks through, like Ron Paul,
Mm.
and creates a worldwide revolution with millions of people that still is on fire today and growing to this day. But again, if there was a free flow of information and they didn't censor Ron Paul, then Ron Paul would have been president. But there isn't a
Who's
free
the
flow
number
of
one
information.
libertarian right now? Who's the guy that's like the face of the party? Is it still Ron Paul?
Ron Paul was not the Ron Paul was the face of the Republican Party. He was a libertarian. So Ron Paul ran in 1988 as the libertarian candidate, but Ron Paul was a
Yeah.
Republican congressman for his entire tenure in Congress. And when he ran in
Hmm.
2008 and 2012, he ran as a Republican, which is why it was such a realistic goal to get him as the Republican nominee and elected as president, because he wasn't playing the fringe game. He was a decades long Republican congressman from
Hmm.
Texas.
Hmm.
He was in Congress playing the game, you know. Um, so the way I look at it is that, you know, I don't really even view the Libertarian Party as really a part of that conversation because they don't have a statistical chance of winning. So it's one of those scenarios where, you know, if it's like you're the two winners, and then there's the other people over there who are not the winning teams. Like obviously the winning teams are going to come together, right? So
Yeah.
that's where the incentive comes in, right? It's incentivized for the Republicans and the Democrats to, you know, pit us against each other, but at the top be really good friends because they have to keep their two-party system alive. Otherwise, a bunch of other political parties, a lot of other candidates that don't fit into their, you know, establishment narrative will inevitably come in and smash the paradigm. However,
Yeah.
Ron Paul was just one guy, and Ron Paul created a revolution that we are continuing today. And that revolution is just spreading the ideas of peace and freedom. And now we're getting to the next level of that, to where, I mean, look at what just happened with Russell Brand. They just tried, they're canceling the guy with everything right now, right? So this is, now we know their playbook. We know their exact tactics. They come for everybody the same now.
He was
And
anti-vax recently. Is that something that was happening?
bro, Russell Brand has been red pilled. Russell Brand used to be such a liberal, like a commie, authoritarian style
Mm.
leftist. And he's become much more rational on a lot of topics. And as a result of, you know, questioning the banking system and questioning,
Mm.
you know, them,
The Rothschilds.
the vaccine thing a lot too, which is just all part of the
Oh.
same, like them, you know, Epstein's friends,
Mm.
um, like these cabals, you know. So yeah, man, we got a lot of people in these chats right now. Hold on, let me check these. Let's talk about the next one. Yeah, so let's talk about some healthy stuff again. So if anybody's watching right now, say what's up. I see people coming into this chat a lot. We got something on
Somebody
Twitch
just
right
said, "I'm not
now.
American, but I believe the
Not
best show
yeah.
for 2024 will be the elections."
Yeah, I
That's so
like
funny.
that. Well, let's
It is
hope.
good television. I'm on. I kid you not. I have my YouTube TV set up to have every single political channel side by side to flip through just to see, because it's pretty wide range now. It's still definitely not every option there is out there, but you can go from the far right to the far left, and it's actually hilarious TV. Like you can spend 6 hours straight on there.
That's what I love about Twitter now, is that you can go so far right and so far left now that it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
whoa, man, I haven't even really seen this
I could
content since
spend
I was,
hours on this. Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Last time I saw this, I was a teenager in AIM chat
Yeah,
rooms with disinformation.
yeah,
Like there was no censorship. So,
yeah.
or like, you know, 4chan or something like decades ago.
Yeah,
Like,
that's so funny.
um, so, you know, I was also going to talk to you about the exercise styles that you should integrate into your life as well. So I think that would be a really good thing to talk about as well. Is
So I
that
have to,
a
yeah, I
lot of
have to muscle build. I would love to hear your thoughts on kind of building out my core again. I know a lot of the deep breathing is going to help with the abs and kind of stretching that out. That was a huge bit. I actually wrote that down. What other things do you have that could be something that I incorporate into my life? I know I need to talk to your buddy, but yeah, please.
Push-ups, pull-ups, dips, and yoga. That's it. That's your
Damn,
start.
that's it.
Yeah, man. I mean, if you have a base of good pull-ups, push-ups, and dips, and you do yoga, so I'm like, all right, you don't need to like you're doing if you're doing yoga, like you're doing legs as well. It's a pretty good leg workout, and my legs will show you I do not lift weights with my legs, and I'd say I have pretty good sized legs.
Mm,
So yeah, that's it. It's a body weight. So yoga, technically, that's just calisthenics, right? It's just another
yeah.
modality of body weight workout. So it's going to be
Pull
based
up,
body weight
push-ups,
workout.
dips, really
That's
just a
it.
lot of jail workouts. Try to incorporate legs by
Pretty
doing yoga
much.
and other stuff. I
Pretty
like to
much.
swim.
Yeah.
Is that something that's too cardio heavy with that
Hey man,
lifestyle, or is that something?
sounds like that's just your body weight moving in that water, right? So body weight
Yeah,
only
okay.
is the standard. So whatever you choose to do in that body weight, whether it's yoga or air squats or running, or I don't recommend really running. I
Mhm.
suggest do pull ups and
And,
dips. Like as far as cardio
running
goes,
sucks for
like
my body.
doing a bunch of pull ups, dips and push ups and stuff, even on your
Mhm.
knees, knee push ups. Just try to spam them with good
What
form.
about building my
Don't
lower back? Is that just
That's the
yoga for
yoga.
the
That's
most
where the
part?
yoga will come
Yeah,
in. The yoga
yeah.
will do that, and then the
I have tight
pull-ups.
hamstrings, my lower back is tight, I have calf issues, both calves, the big one and the little one, and then I've had Achilles tendonitis for 6 years now. That thing never goes away. I've had a lot of shit wrong with me.
If you do yoga and breath work every day for a year, like you probably won't have any of these issues, or like
That's
they'll
kind of
probably be
exciting.
drastically diminished.
That's so dope. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Well, I know it's something that I can never fully move past. You just have to start to, like, live with it. Like, I've had bad hamstring for, like,
No,
forever,
you'll
and
be
I think
cured. I don't do that. No, no. We're
100%?
you go 100%. But that's what I'm saying. Like you have to make this an every day. Every day you wake up is a new chance at living another life. Is how I look
By the
at
way,
it.
you're not in the chat no more in the
All
in
right.
the StreamYard.
Good call. Thank you for noticing that.
You just hopped out, yeah.
Yeah, I'm about to pull in again right now. 1 second.
Pull it in.
But
While we
yeah, if
wait, I
y'all
think my
are
dad's in here. What's up, Dad? How are you,
yeah,
Dad? I
what's
love you.
up? If y'all are here, say what's up. Chat with us. We are coming back live in 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, I have my boy JB in here.
What's up,
My boy Hamed,
JD?
Mustafa.
There we go. There we
I got all
go.
the little Afghans. Prince Eli, Omar Latif. What's up, Omar? What's up, Akbar? They're all probably gone by now, but fuck it.
Yeah. So yeah, that's just the best place to get started. The thing is, I just try to make these recommendations so simple, but in reality, it's like,
Yeah.
hey, so you haven't done these practices like really ever, and now you're gonna do them every day forever. So it's like it's easy.
I'm the kind of guy that just flips it on and off. Like every time I've done that, maybe it's the athlete in me. Whenever it's season, it's time to go to season. You just kind of just flick it on, and
Yes,
within
you're on
6 weeks, you can get
season.
to
Yeah.
whatever perceived goal that you have. Like it really takes 6 weeks of just doing something every single week, at least 4, 5, 6 times a week, for it to be ingrained in your mind. I know they say 3 weeks, but for me, it's more like six. Just because like I need to. I feel like as a man, you have like this little like 2, 3 day window every single month where you're kind of PMSing too. You're a little tired, you're a little lazy, and you got to fight through those days too to get there. So that's why I always say like 2 months, really. Like let me just not be a bitch.
That's where the breath work comes in. Anytime you feel
Yeah.
like that, you put on a 10-minute breath work, 15-minute breath work session. If you still feel like that after, then there might be something wrong. If not, you just needed some oxygen and some balance. So, yeah, I mean, as you see, I try to make my recommendations as easy as possible so that you can just get into the groove of things and build a very strong base. Because
Mm,
I could be like, yeah, go do muscle ups too. It's like, why would I tell you to do that when you literally cannot do perfect pull ups and stuff? Yeah, I mean, I'm just assuming,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
because people who like
No, it's been a
takes a
while.
long
I have
time. Like I literally just
Yeah.
like after years of being a calisthenics athlete have just like learned how to do a perfect pull up and a perfect push up. So
Yeah.
after so many years, so that's why I always say it's like just a push up or a pull up is something that you can have fun with for years and years and years and years, which is what I've done. So to this day, I'm still unlocking gains in my push-ups and my pull-ups. So that's why it's just good to spend the first few years just building the base. And then after a couple of years, you're like, all right, this is like how I eat. This is my lifestyle. This is generally who I am now. So I guess you got to just build a new identity in a sense of, your identity before is somebody who doesn't do these things every day. And then your new identity is just somebody who does do these things every day. And you just have to make it like an everyday thing, not every day, but like, almost every single
Try to be,
day.
as
Yeah, you
perfect as
can't
possible.
like fall off for enough days to where you fall off for good. That's essentially,
Yeah,
which is
that's
funny
the
because
key
that's what I'm
here.
trying to do with these streams right now. Like, you stop streaming for like
Yeah.
2-3
4
weeks, then it
days.
stops
Yeah,
for 6 months, so
yeah,
you
that's
just
so
got to
true.
keep doing multiple every single week. I wish we could have gone on Kick tonight, actually. Kick is like cracking. It literally like won't work. But I'm glad we got on
We'll get
Twitch
it up and
because
running. We're gonna do this more. Yeah, this is sick. We've had so much engagement on Twitch.
dude, surprising, right? Yeah. I'm
Yeah, because you're triggering hella people, bro. I'm sitting here offended as fuck myself. I'm like, I'm just kidding.
you know what's funny too is that get people triggered when I'm being at my most
Best
controlled.
behavior.
Yeah, best behavior. Yeah. Yeah, I'm
That's
on
hella
my
funny.
best behavior right now. So if I even turn this shit up like 1%, that's why I'm not, hey, guy, that's why I'm trying to build a following on Twitter and Kick and Rumble if you're watching this, so that I can turn it up way more than 1%, and we can talk in detail about a lot of these topics. Yeah.
One thing about the general consumer is I feel like a lot of times they're really not looking for deep engagement, but like high level engagement, if that makes sense. Like enough to keep them entertained, but not like they don't want to dive in and spend 4 hours learning about a specific view because either they fall in love with it or they just start to like hate the world. I don't know. Our attention spans are so short. So like it's very interesting to see how people have different views on it, how their approach is totally different and unique.
Yeah, that's a really good point. If my primary premise for doing my business was maximizing capital, I would do that. My premise for the way that I run my business is that if you want to be dumb, then that's like if you want a quick hit of drug-like entertainment, you're not going to get it from me. And I know that that is not the right way to maximize capital and profits. However, I do believe that that's the best way to maximize evolving human consciousness to the next level. So I strive for a world where people do once again have these high levels of curiosity, because they do. If you look across social media and you see what your friends share on their stories, it's always like, some doctors or like, somebody who made it through the algorithm somehow. People are researching. They want to learn more. Again, it's the censorship that is causing. Why don't people know about the endocannabinoid system? Oh, because every time I talk about the endocannabinoid system, the content gets no views at all. But if I start talking about dopamine, and I throw that word in a few times, then, so why do people all say dopamine? Why do you say serotonin? Why do you say oxytocin? Why do you say endorphin? Because you want it. Not saying what you're saying is right. It's not. However, why do you say it? I'm not saying you generally. Why do people say
I know, I
this?
know.
They say this because they want to learn these topics. They don't know where to learn them. There's not much access to learn it, and they're like, well, I guess dopamine hit. Oh, your endorphins are rushing. Like, your opioid system has nothing to do with exercise and induced euphoria. But okay. So it shows that people do want to learn these topics, these deep topics in health. If they didn't, they wouldn't use neurotransmitter names like oxytocin and dopamine and serotonin and endorphin. Like these are all like deep science, very high level scientific stuff to understand and talk about neurotransmitter systems, regulatory systems, for example. So the fact that people do already talk about this stuff shows me that the market does desire being smarter. I really do believe that the average American consumer does actually want to learn more and be educated more about the things that they buy. And that's why people now ask you, like, where did that ingredient come from? Right?
Yeah.
Because people want to know. However, where do I learn about that? There are barely any places that give you accurate information on these topics. So instead of me molding into what the established order of the world wants me to do to maximize profits, I'm going to create my own way and make
Mm.
that the establishment of the future. And that establishment of the future is one where all individuals have open access to the same information. And you can do with that information whatever you want. But we have to start there first. The average person needs open access to free information. We need to truly protect the free First Amendment and protect our God-given rights to say whatever we want. So, yeah.
Amen of freedom of speech. I like that.
Yeah, and that's what you see. Like, it's not, it's not about my First Amendment. It's about, like, I was born with the right to be able to say what I want and think what I want and study what I want and do what I want as long as I am not being violent towards others.
Is that an issue of government, big government, or is that an issue of corporations leveraging, you know, I guess diversity and pitting us against each other for profit? Like, where does that go?
Well, I view corporations as a wing of the state because corporations only exist under a monopolized state institution.
Through
So
lobbyists that they control.
so
I
it's
mean,
like
I feel
so
like
it's like what came first, the
it's
chicken or the
tricky.
egg kind of thing. Like government came
Yeah,
before corporations. Like, well, yeah, government came before corporations existed, not before business existed, but like a
sure.
corporation, right? That means like a specific legal entity under a
Mhm.
specific state that must behave in these certain specific ways. So the divide and conquer comes from the state as the primary. It does not come from the wings of the state. They're like, oh, the media does this. Like, who's the media speaking for, man? Oh, the government. So, you know,
That's all, man.
so that's why I'm
And for
always just
themselves
like,
too, I'm telling you, man. I mean, I feel like they benefit a lot by playing the rules because they're granted the ability to be one of the top 3 or 4 to kinda own the whole segment, right?
well, and those corporations, a lot of the times when they first started, they were not very popular, right?
Mm,
So eventually they fight against the status quo, they get enough customers, they provide enough education, and then they become the new establishment, they become the new status quo.
mm,
Unfortunately, the flaw of the corporate structure is that you have to adhere to these specific government wants and needs, coercion. And as a result, you compromise on the things that you started with as your primary philosophy. We could look at Apple, right? Apple was like all about privacy. They rejected the government in the beginning when the US government came to Apple and tried to get in, and they said no, and then eventually the government's like, all right, bitch, like we'll just hack it. We'll just create our own backdoors, and then eventually they
mm.
coerce these big tech companies to fall in line. And so, even the social media censorship that I talk about today, Twitter showed that a lot of the censorship is coming directly from the government. They're sending these letters and
Like,
phone calls that are
don't let this go
absolutely
viral. Don't
they're
talk about
literally they
this.
literally say
Block
that.
these
That's literally what
keywords.
the Twitter files. Yeah, the Twitter files.
Yeah, I remember I read about this. Yeah.
Yeah. So if anybody wants to go verify actual fact, that this is all open information now. So that's the thing. Like, you see what the Twitter files does. Edward Snowden leaks, for example. Julian Assange leaks with WikiLeaks. All these things,
R.I.P.
they shift human civilization and evolve us to something that is better because now we all have more knowledge. So really, when it all
That's
comes
facts.
down
I agree.
to, it's a knowledge thing. If Democrats and Republicans had the same algorithm all the time without censorship, what would it look like? What would America look like?
Mhm.
And I think America would look much better if we did have, you know, it's the algorithm. Like, it splits us. The Democrat friends and your Republican friends and your independent friends. Everybody's getting a different feed. Everybody's been being given a different reality of what they think is real life in the world, right? So that's why I actually
Right.
implore a lot of Americans, especially if you live in big cities and come from big metropolitan areas, is to spend time in rural America, small town America. Maybe just like move out of the cities for a few years and just go explore somewhere else, go rent a place in a small town and just recognize that a lot of the problems that you think are these huge American problems are more big city problems than they are small area problems, and realize that these small town Americans aren't actually these bad evil people that you perceive them as. And the things
At
that
the end
I
of the day,
tell.
though, I feel like it's very difficult to tell somebody to go see that side. And let's say you do find a lot of commonalities, you agree on many things, but let's say you are from the big city and you depend on government funding, and everything that's kind of holding you upright is, I guess, Democrats with social services. Or let's say on the flip side, you go to the big city and you see that there's people getting free money and they're not working, and you're working really hard in, middle America somewhere. Like,
I
it's
mean,
really
you could
hard to
move
like
to any
change somebody's
rural area
mind.
in California and still get the same welfare, but rural areas in California are still drastically different than like the Bay Area and LA. You can go like to the
True.
northernmost edge of California or any other welfare state and still get your welfare if you really want your welfare. You could still live in a rural place, and those
Yeah.
programs are
I'm
all
just trying to think of
still
an example to
cool.
give you, but like it's just like I'm just saying like what do you get beyond understanding the other side?
Well, I mean, what you're saying is like,
Because you have
if you
so many
want to,
agreements.
yeah, I mean, like, this is a recommendation of, if you want to evolve on your soul's journey and really experience the goodness of life for what it is, you got to go out of your
Mm.
way to make some lifestyle changes to really have those experiences. If you want to stay in the same place for your whole life and not be healthy and complain and like be sucked chronically to the welfare state, then to the point I was making, I am not about pulling in every single person and getting money from everybody and making sales off everybody. Like, the customer base that I want for Specker are for people who really want to be healthy, who really want
Love that.
freedom, who really want to take control of their lives. So if you're somebody who just wants to be a loser and doesn't want to win, which is a lot of people, and that's totally fine. If you're one of those
It's
people
okay.
and in this life you don't want to do that shit and you just want to sit at home and be lazy and don't do shit and just complain about the world, go ahead. But your soul is eternal, and you're going to come back in this game again after this life is done, and you're going to have to keep playing this game over and over and over until you evolve to a certain point to where you're not going to play this game again. So my recommendation is you might as well just do it in this life, because if you don't, then there is a chance that your eternal soul might be coming back into another physical reality until
I
you
love that.
actually learn the lessons that you came into this physical reality to accomplish. So yeah, if like that's the point I was making, if profit motive was my primary premise for business, I would generalize things like that more to make it accessible to people who want 8-second TikTok content. But when we're talking about something like curing disease and optimizing our health to get to higher levels that we've never really achieved before as a collective human civilization in our modern written history, then we're going to have to do some different things, you know? And part of that is my action and saying, all right, the different thing I'm going to do is the money will come. Like, I have no doubt in my mind that I'm going to be extremely monetarily
Yeah, don't you have like
successful.
4,000 bitcoins? Is it 10,000 yet?
I don't have any Bitcoin. What are you talking about? Yeah, I don't have a. Talking about those things.
Just kidding.
No, I definitely don't. 4,000, but no, there's like 20. Who has fucking 10,000? Let
That
me
was a
see. Actually,
joke, bro.
no, I know that was. Hey, for anybody who's listening, don't. Yeah, that's. I do not have. I want to know how much that costs now. Actually, I'm gonna check. Hold on,
4,000.
because
What
I'm
is
like,
that
who
stuff
has
even at, bro?
26,000 right now? So what is 10,000? Bro, who has what the fuck? 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, $260 million. Damn, bro. Hey, if I had that many Bitcoin, I'd probably have a nicer studio here right now. But,
That's hella funny. Wait,
um,
I really, before I let you go today, I know we're running out of time. I want to pivot if it's okay with you. The other day you kind of elaborated that you're on a spiritual journey and you've kind of like found some new inner peace. If Can we talk about that for a sec before we get off? Or
bro, that would be a great finisher, because that's kind of goes full circle and just brings everything back to one, is the spiritual stuff, because all of
I
this
love that.
stuff connects into that.
So I remember growing up, you're always so adamantly vocal about your belief system and kind of where you stood with things. And it seems like you've kind of slowly pivoted a little bit or found an additional essence in life and God. Walk me through what the journey's been and how the hell you got here.
I guess the most simple way is that I have tried to find God all of my life,
Mm,
and all of my life I was being led astray by unsatisfactory answers to the question of God. So I decided, like I've decided with almost everything else in my life, that I have to go down the path of figuring this out solely by myself
mm,
and not expecting to get answers that satisfy me from anybody other than God.
okay.
And through all these years, I've just, tried to quantify my relationship with God, or just the existence of God, because I have always
Hmm.
believed that it's a quantifiable thing to describe God like that, to prove God, right?
Hmm.
So the place that I'm in right now is one where I have a confident relationship directly with God. And that's where the journey is right now.
I love
And
that.
that's taken me from, like being trying to be religious to being a godless atheist to
Hmm. Hmm.
where I am now, which is I have no belief, or I try to have no belief. And
Elaborate on that. What does that mean? You believe in God, but you're saying you have no belief?
right, so what is there other than a belief in God? And it's not a belief in
It's
God. It's
blind
like I
faith.
don't.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. It's like, well, I don't. I guess that word is wrong. It's like it's not my belief in God. It's confidence in God.
Mm,
And then what else comes after that? Just words. Like, I have confidence in a creator of this thing that we're living in, right?
yeah.
So everything that would come out of that would be a belief system. So what I'm saying is belief system. So
I see what you're
um,
saying.
So like when you add it on top of, okay, hey, I believe in God. You believe in God? Yeah, yeah, I believe in God. Oh, actually, Muhammad's the messenger. No, he's not. Jesus is the one true God. No, he's not. Hey, bro, we all just were agreeing on the one true God. And then all you fools came out
And now
here
we
with
got
your
deeper. Yeah.
books and started saying all these words. And then everybody's connection to God just went from really direct and really awesome to really not. And that's my problem with belief systems. So even, we're talking earlier about, you know, like libertarianism and all these things. I even try really hard to break down these belief systems that I used to hold so dear to me and close to my identity. I guess
Mm.
the route, and somebody mentioned this in the chat as well about Taoism, and that's I just practice. The way is the way. I'm not a Taoist. I do not consider myself anything. But if you want to learn more about what I'm talking about, how it is and it's not. The way is the way. God is God. I am here. I am everything. I am nothing. You know. And if you want to learn more about that, then Taoism is a really good place to start that journey because it's not like a God basis. It's just the way. It's just a book of the Tao Te Ching is the main book of Taoism. So you can read that book. I've read it a lot. So it's not a religious text in that sense. It's kind of a spiritual
Mm.
guidance to get you to the next stage and get you to understanding certain things. So I guess, the way that I just look at religion is just, it's kind of it's taking what we already know and then adding these stories and marketing and PR and my company's better than your company kind of mindset.
Yeah,
And then like you're looking from the outside in and you're like, dude, all your companies are not that great.
it's the
And
same shit. Yeah.
yeah, it's the same thing. Like, so that's actually what drew me away from religion is that I started going down the rabbit hole of learning about all religions or as many as I could, or the major religions.
Mhm.
And I was like, wait a minute, everybody's saying the same thing. And as a result of that, I became godless because I was like, dude, this is the dumbest thing ever. This doesn't make sense. Like, all of you are saying the same thing, but none of you can actually prove it. And then as a result, I was like, all right, well, maybe I should explore the fact that if not one person out of any tradition can explain any of this to me in a satisfactory way, then logically speaking, I would have to deduce that that thing does not exist. If everybody says something exists, nobody can prove it to me in a satisfactory way, then I was just like, all right, well then I guess I'll take a road of it doesn't exist then. Let's see how that goes.
Yeah.
And that never
It's
felt
funny for
right.
me. The way I always looked at it was, from day one, I was like, listen, there's not going to be anything that's going to like concretely define that this is true or not. There has to be a level of kind of like blind faith going into it, like saying, hey, I just have to believe that there's something beyond this. And for me, it was always because the reason I felt that way was I was never that connected to the X's and O's. Like I wasn't reading it like it was a playbook. It was more so just the overall general kind of like the vibe it kind of set off, just like the don't be a bad person, don't lie, cheat, steal, the stuff that you're talking about where you're like, it's like copy paste from every other religion before it. Um, and to me, that's like what I took away from it. I was like, yeah, it's very simple, but like all these religions have this much stuff in common. So you decide to take certain things from it. And for some people, they just don't have that close of a connection. So they're not looking for hard line, defined answers. It's more so, hey, I gotta. There's something out there. Like there has to be more to life than this. And if it's any one God, it might be the one that I'm more comfortable with. That's what my Christian friends say. That's what my Jewish friends say. That's what I say. It's like whatever you're more comfortable with. I always thought if you have a religion, there's like there's some connection there. Even atheists, I love every single one of them. I don't see why any of them are better or worse than anyone else. It's just we all have different things that we kind of cling to, we take with us, and it kind of shapes us into who we are. I follow a subreddit about anti or like former Muslims, or I follow one for atheists, and everyone has a valid story. Like no one's is wrong, and everyone it's just like the journey that they're on. They choose, and they're thrown into a lot of like interesting circumstances, but like that kind of paves the way for them. I don't know.
Yeah, and all of these people, like the ex-Muslims and the atheists, they want to believe in God. They're not saying that they don't want to believe in God. It's you are not giving me satisfactory answers. Same road I went down. You're not giving me
Yeah.
satisfactory answers. As a result, I need to find some other angle to get the answers that I'm looking for. Okay. And okay. So
You're a
actually,
researcher, like you
so
want actual answers. Like I love that. That's why like I remember we were talking about the hadiths and stuff, and you're like, wait, what? Ooh, it's midnight, buddy. We cracked the seal. I'm proud of us. Oh man, people still ain't sleeping. What's up, Zabby? What's up, Ali Latif? You guys are awake with us? Oh, and a couple of others. Look at that. We're so viral. Ask me a question. Ask Amir a question. I'm sure he's ruffled a few feathers. One thing I love about my relationship with Amir is we could be different, but we respect each other. And I think if more people were like that, you could do a lot of amazing things together. Zabby, nobody needs sleep.
do you hear me?
Sleep is for the weak. Yes, sir.
Awesome. Okay, so I was gonna say this is hey, yeah, say if you're in the chats right now, say what's up to us. Ask us a question. We're about to wrap up, but we're gonna talk for a little more. All right, so this is a very good point I want to bring up
What's
to
up,
what you
Azim?
mentioned.
Our old classmate Azim's in the group chat, or he's in the call.
Awesome. Let's go.
Anyways, yeah,
So
my dog.
the people who have the belief system that you have and the strategy and approach that you've used
It's
is the approach that I
failed,
used to
flawed.
use when I was younger. Like, I just know this is true. I can feel it deep down. And then what happens? The external world starts adding all of this, intellectualism and logic
Mm.
and then you have to prove these
Which is
things.
great, right? When you're like looking at it for that, like if you're looking for actual concrete defined answers, kind of like when you open a textbook or you're talking to a professor who can actually give you an actual answer to a question you might have. But yeah,
Yes,
go
yeah.
on.
So like, and the thing is like, yeah. So a lot of people know and their whole lives they're just like, I don't need to go look at opposing views because I already
Mm,
know this is true. And I actually get a lot of my religious friends who say that to me. Like, I'm good, bro. I
yeah.
don't want to look into any other religion. It's like, well, that's kind of ignorant, but hold on, let
It's
me.
the easiest road to go down. Like if the system's always going to be flawed, but if it's not broken, why break it? Some people just don't have that connection to faith that other people might have. It might be they just need it for the surface level. How many people do we know that go to church every single week, but they're fucking pedophiles or rapists, or same with mosque, same with uh, synagogue. It just the people are
Can you move
flawed.
your
The
phone
religions
back a tiny bit? Because it's like I'm hearing every thing in the echo right
really
now. Awesome.
echo.
Or like away from like some headphones. Thank you, thank you. Test, test, test. All right. So I was gonna say, like, actually in retrospect, when I look at the grand scheme, it was actually the
Hmm.
people who never had a question to begin with who were on the right path. Potentially it was me who was led astray away from the
Because
path
we
that
had
I
so many
always
questions.
knew was true. But again, it was like, for me, it was religion. They're telling me
Mm,
that, okay, God, but then they're like, yeah, by the way, there's this whole book here and you have to follow these rules that some guys made up. And then God says you have to follow these rules in this book, but God says you have to follow those rules in those book or that book. And then it's different rules in that book too. It's like, bro, that doesn't make sense. Like, hey, like, so it's the whole like, hey, bro, let's just stop at God. Like, once you start adding too much onto that, it's like you just start doing this externalized human thing that we do, So yeah, it's an interesting kind of full circle that I've had. And now I look at my friends who are like, nah, bro, yeah, I believe in God. Like, oh, have you done any research on, no, like, I just know God is real, and
Like
it's like,
I chose that this is
wow,
my God.
that
Yeah.
is so evolved, it's a wow. Because ultimately we go through these intellectualized journeys and then you just literally come back home to, oh
Yeah.
yeah, obviously some entity created this, and obviously there is a controller of this. So, the atheists will go and say, oh, simulation theory or holographic universe or whatever, or not just atheists, but like, that's how atheists, they'll be like, oh, the powers of the universe. You mean God? So another thing is that the word God has specific connotations as well that either pull people towards a positive angle or a negative angle.
Mm.
And that's why, you see a lot of, coastal California and godless liberals and stuff will say the powers of the universe, my intuition. Like, bro, you're just using other words to represent these
Mm.
words. So that's why I just started
Yeah.
using these words again, because the more I realized, I was like, wait, so I believe in simulation theory. Then who's the So if I say I believe in a simulator, what does that mean? That means God, a simulator. So it's just people
You're
trying to,
getting
like get to the same feeling inside with using different words. So instead of using the different words, I just realized we're all talking about God, and it seems like the word God actually brings people together the most. So let's just go from there.
I like that.
So
I
that's
think
my
that's
whole
a really
mindset
good
on.
commonality or a common ground to find between people that walk different paths. Like you might not get everyone on that with that viewpoint, but you'll get enough of people that to them that's the core foundation of it. Like somebody that has some views that align with you, it makes a world of difference.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
that's, the whole point of what we're talking about today. It's like finding common ground. And that's why, I always say it's like find the common ground. You're a conservative, you meet some liberal, say, like, do you love America? Liberal says, yes, I love America. All right.
Mhm.
Go from there. You guys both love America.
Yeah.
All right. You say, I believe in God. You're a Christian person. Muslim guy says, I believe in God. All right. Go from there. You don't need to talk about the Holy Trinity. Okay. Just
Yeah.
go with the God thing. And I
Yeah.
guess it's just the average individual just needs to reprogram their mind to focus on commonalities instead of differences. And generally speaking, when you put a group of people together, they do that. They focus on,
Mm.
commonalities. Like, for example, when you go out and play basketball with your friends, y'all aren't sitting there debating what religion is the best or what political system. Like, you're like, oh, we all like basketball and we're here to play basketball. Like, it would actually
Yep.
be out of pocket, kind of, if you even talked
It's
about
like, what are
those
you even
things,
talking
right?
about? Yeah,
Yeah,
like,
why the
why are we
fuck are you
talking
talking
about this?
about that
Yeah.
here? Like, what? So, the way I look at it is like, why don't we just use that same mindset for everything? Where if you know something is going to get out of pocket, then just cost benefit. Is it better to be friends with somebody, or is it better to create enemies? And you can disagree with people
Mm.
respectfully. I think that's the great thing. Nobody agrees. People say this all the time, like, oh, I agree with so much of what you say, but, like, there's some things I just don't. I'm like, hey,
Yeah.
who on earth can you show me one other person on earth that you agree with 100%? So every
100%.
time
Yeah.
people say that to me, I'm like, well, am I like some distinct person that you say that to? Because what you're trying to tell me is that you disagree with me. Like, that's like a nice
Yeah.
way of saying. That's funny, because now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, wow, that is just a nice way of telling me, hey, I still fuck with you, but I disagree with you. Like, hey,
But
man,
I'm not. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
yeah, like, why don't you just, like, not even say that I disagree with you on so much? Because you disagree with everybody on so much.
Mm.
Your spouse, your mom and dad, your best friends. You disagree with everybody on a lot of things, but generally you agree on a lot of things. So let's just focus on the
Exactly. Yeah.
things that you generally agree on, and then we can go from there. I guess I guess this is a good place start ending it. It's like, if you are one of the people that adheres to the style that me and Abdullah are talking about, which is, like, be positive, try to find common ground,
Mm,
you got to actually do the work to come at people who are being out of pocket. Like, that one guy was like in the chat and he was just like blasting, just like being hella out of pocket, being negative. And instead of giving into it and playing along with it, it's just like, hey, man, we're here to be positive. All right. So if you have nothing
yeah.
positive to say, like, bro, step out of
Fuck
the fucking
off. Yeah.
conversation, bro. Like,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
this is a nice, loving space. You can disagree with me as much as you want. But if you want to disagree with me and be out of pocket and act like you're fighting with me and try to like be all aggressive like that, bro, like, that ain't the move. So that's why I implore people, if you want to see a bright future, you have to be the regulator and the check and balance to the negative behavior. If you see that negative behavior, I'm not saying like go hate on that person. It's like, hey, maybe you could just share that, hey, bro, turn that frown upside down. Maybe you could just turn what you're saying from negative into positive, and we could go from there. It's not like you need to go like hate on somebody and go talk shit to them. It's like, hey, bro, like, you're being hella out of pocket right now. Maybe you could just like turn this conversation around and focus on the positive things, because that's what we're talking about right now. So why don't you just think right now, next time you say something, just say something positive.
Mm.
So that's really what I
I love
implore
that. I
people to
think,
do.
yeah, I hope we can all just become a little more positive in our day to day. I talk to this about everyone that like my partner. Well, I talk to my friends about this all the time. It's really just the attitude really drives us forward or backwards. Like if we're positive minded, we're gonna find the good in people. We're gonna find solutions to our problems. But if we're not, we're just gonna start sinking down that hole. And I always envision a subreddit moderator. Like I don't want to become that guy, just hella bitter and angry at the world. Hiding behind a computer, leaving shitty ass comments for people like, "Oh no, fuck you, you're banned. You can't have an opinion." But I
Bro,
don't know.
that's
I
so
think
funny.
we're on
A
to some good stuff.
subreddit moderator is the best description you could have given. Because yeah, those people, it's like they start revolving their lives around being that moderator,
A
and then it just
non-paid moderator. Yeah,
yeah.
that's hella
Yeah.
funny.
So yeah, don't be the opposite of daily Reddit
That's
moderators
hella funny.
lifestyle. And that's really, it's just like,
Before I let you go ahead.
uh-huh. No, please.
No, I was gonna say before I let you go, man. I really want to just open the floor. What are some things that you want to kind of? I know we're gonna do this again, but what are some sound offs for you just to kind of end the call on?
Sound off. Go be healthy. Go do breath work. Go outside in nature as much as possible and
Mm,
get as much natural light and minimize artificial light as much as possible, which means all of these lights that are in front of us right now are very artificial. So, if you are going to be in front of artificial light a lot during your day, you find that balance and
balance
you
that.
go spend just as much time outside, if not more, and eat lots of red meat and seek the truth. But do breath work. Do breath work
The
every
only
day.
thing I'm
Do
gonna
breath
add to
work.
that, I love you, man. The only thing I'm gonna add to that is um, try to vocalize and verbalize your appreciation and love for other people whom you don't you won't be sharing this with often. Like you never know when it's gonna be the last time you're gonna see somebody or talk to them. So for me personally, I always say I love you at the end of the conversation when I have with any of my friends. Like Amir, anytime we talk on the phone, if I hang up, I'm like, all right, I love you, bro. Boom.
I do
You
that
gotta
too.
share
Yeah.
that. So I implore that to everybody. You'll just feel better about life because you never know what's gonna happen. And you always want to, give people their flowers while they're on earth and not when it's too late. So it's a good way to drive real nice positivity too in somebody's life. Just a simple thing will go a long way.
Hey, that's a really good point. Especially men to other men need to say "I love you" to each other more, because men really need more love in this world, And just that simple "I love you" to your homeboy, it's a really good feeling. So,
Hmm.
don't feel like, it's like a taboo, like, like they'll be like, "Oh, bro, what are you
Yeah.
gay?" Like, nah, bro, like that shit's cool, bro. Like, it's all
Like,
good.
no, give
Like,
me a fucking hug,
and
buddy.
that's
Like,
like how, like,
you're
and
my
that's the
brother.
generally like men need to find. We are finding that breakdown, I think, in society because you remember, like, if we were 20 years ago
Slowly,
when we were
yeah.
younger, if we
Yeah.
would talk about these things, it would be like, nah, bro, like, what the fuck are you doing? Like today, I could,
What's
like,
wrong with you?
you
Yeah.
say I love, like, men accept that with other men, and I feel like that is so amazing for the future of America that we
Mm,
are coming together in such a positive way that, say, 50, 60, 70 years ago, our parents generation, the parents before them, and before,
mhm.
even saying I love you to your kids wasn't even a normal thing, right? And not just where our
Yeah.
family comes from, in America as well, everywhere. So
I
now we're
agree.
to the point where men, just friends, can say, I love you, give each other hugs. I think that that is so positive. We just have to look at the reason I say positive is because I can look at positive indicators. So that's an indicator, right? It's an
Mhm.
indicator for the
Yep.
future where if this is a cultural behavior today, because actually there are a lot of countries in the world where if you even look at people and smile at them, they'll be like, "Oh, what the fuck are you doing, bro? Like, why are you looking at me?" Like some European countries and stuff. A lot of the former communist
Yeah, yeah,
countries are like that.
yeah.
So that's a very American thing for us to even look at
Yeah.
other people and smile. And now we've hyper Americanized ourselves essentially by doing this, Abdullah. That's so funny now that I think about it. So and actually, if you actually
And I'm
think about
okay
it,
with that. Yeah.
where we come from, men like hug and kiss each other on the cheeks and shit like it's nothing, right?
Oh, yeah. In
So
Afghanistan, men walk and they hold hands
they
together when
hold
they're just
hands. They do
chilling.
that
It's
in
just like
Iran
a
too,
form of
bro.
love. Yeah. Same thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100 years
I
ago,
thought that
did you
was
know?
weird growing up. I was like, "What the fuck is this?" But now I'm like, that's how they show their love. Like it is what it. Just like in other cultures, they'll kiss on the cheeks. Some will do other stuff. Everyone has their own weird ass ways of showing their love.
Yeah, yeah. So, I would just say, express that love to the fullest and don't
Hmm.
have any shame
I
for
agree. I
expressing your
agree.
love to others because yeah, to the point we're making, people come and go in this realm very fast. And the experiences that you have with every person is so fleeting. And I mean, look, me and Abdullah, bro, like we flashed our eyes in a blink of a second, you know, we just blinked and now we're 20 years older than when around we first met, So
I
then you
remember when I
blink
first met you,
again.
you're like an urban legend at our high school.
Abdullah was an urban legend too when he came to our high school.
That would be a story for
um,
another day. That's gonna be a good
yeah,
one.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, the future is bright. I'm really glad we found this topic to end this on. So yeah, go hug your bros. Go tell them you love them. Actually, to everybody, even if it's your parents,
Mm,
like
mm,
make
yeah.
sure you say this as much as possible to everybody because when you do lose close, when you do start getting old enough to start losing more and more and more close
Hmm.
people, these things start hitting home. And I just implore people
Yeah.
to learn the lesson before more people are lost to you because it's an inevitable reality in this life that you lose your loved ones. So as a result, make sure that every interaction you have with the people that you love and even the people that you don't know. I started saying I love you
Mhm.
to random people like, hey, I love you, bro. Like just
Yeah.
just talking, I love you,
Yeah.
man. Just keep on. Um,
That's so funny.
it's like it's interesting
You
because
might they might have took that two different ways. They might have been like, "Oh man, all love." It's like you see those people that hold a sign that says "Give me free hugs today." Like some people, "Oh
yeah,
yeah," and some people, "Oh bro, you weirdo."
yeah. And that's the thing, and the coast of California. Oh, that's actually so funny because I did. Oh my god, that's so funny. Maybe for another. I was doing that in LA, and when yeah, I was doing that a few weeks ago, and it's the reception you get in certain areas are not what you think you're gonna get. So yeah, man to man, you might want to when you're in
That's so
some big
funny.
American cities, you might want to maybe keep the eye contact not as long with that dude you look at, or else he might think you want something else.
That's hella funny.
If you know what I mean.
That's hella funny.
Hey, but I
No, for
start,
sure I do.
yeah, yeah. If you're from the Bay or LA and you're a man, you might know what it might entail if you look at another man and smile in their eyes for too long, right? Uh, so that's
Especially
like
if you're
another,
like endearing too and you're charming.
yeah, like good looking guy. You know, like, it's like, hey, what's up?
It's like nice
So
smile on him.
it's a very interesting cultural little dichotomy we have here of just the
Yeah.
difference of, like that same smile will determine. But again, breakdown of
You
everything.
take that smile to the Midwest, though, somebody might love you and become your best friend too. Like it's just different places. It brings out different people. You know.
That's actually the thing that I learned in small town America is since everybody does that in small town America and even in big town America in places like Texas, um, my goal was like, wow, Americans actually are like that. So maybe we need
Mm.
to bring this into the areas of America that are starving for this type of love and connectivity. And, when I was around the South and just walking down the street and just saying hi to every single person that walks past you was,
And you're brown as fuck. You're like you could pass for Jafar in Aladdin.
yeah, so yeah, the propaganda, the coastal California propaganda is like, oh man, those people wouldn't say hi. It's like, dude, they like
They're gonna
stop and
hate
they
you.
want to
Yeah.
talk, and yeah, it was a
Yeah.
culture shock that I was having, but it showed me,
Yeah.
America is worth fighting for, America is worth saving. The average American person is a really kind person, even in the cities. Even the meanest people in the cities, hey man, it's hard to live in the cities. City life is fucking just tough. It is mean. It's grimy. It's
I lived in New
expensive.
York City
So
for almost 4 years. I said my whole thing about New York City or any big city for that matter is you don't go there to win. You go there to get your ass beat and enjoy the ride. And then once you walk away, you're like, holy fuck,
damn,
like that was a cold ass place, but it made me a stronger person. You can never spend too much time in the big cities because it makes you too cold. And then you can't spend too much time in
damn.
the rural corners of the world either. I really think you need some mobility and some movement in life. So it's good to be nomadic, kind of like how I feel like you are lately. Like you're just in and out, up and down. It's a
I'm just
blessing,
trying to be
especially in business,
everywhere
to
and
be able to just
nowhere.
pick up and go. Yeah.
That's, we should set up our lives to be like that. I set up my life in a way to have freedom to be mobile, which means that you have to sacrifice certain things. Like you can't buy a lot of like different kinds of assets if you want to, do that. So, it's just, you have to decide what, like what you want. Like I was saying in the beginning, it's like, we only have a certain amount of hours in our day. So you have to just pick which route you want to take, and then you have to just spend the hours because you can't do, unfortunately, what growing up into an adult teaches you is that you can't do everything at once, and you gotta, like, you have to pick a lane for the day that you want to go down and focus on that instead of trying to accomplish like all of the things
Hmm.
at once, if that makes sense.
No, 100%, man. I love it. I think this is a good little cutoff time. We actually went over some fire ass stuff, so
We
it's been
got,
a really good night.
man, this is going to be fun to get some awesome clips from. Let's see, how long were we streaming? Dude, 3 hours and 11
Three
minutes.
hours,
Holy
12
crap.
minutes. Yeah.
Hey, shout out to everybody. If you're here right now and you're watching, it is very late at night and we are going to get off these streams. I am very tired now that I'm thinking about it. But Abdullah,
Hell yeah.
final words. What do you got, my brother? Actually, shout yourself out, your company again, your social media, and give us some
Mhm.
final words of wisdom to end this epic night.
Yeah, I shared my final words, but Smart HR, we're a business consultancy. We help companies with their HR operations. We're really just outsourced and fractional HR. We help with other parts of organizations as well. We do a lot of marketing. We do um, any type of development initiatives they have. But yeah, if anybody wants to talk business, by all means, reach out to me on LinkedIn, on Twitter. I'm all over the social medias. I don't do Facebook though. Is that bad for my IG growth?
I don't do Facebook anymore either. Don't worry. Yeah,
Yeah,
Facebook is,
yeah.
it's
Fuck
done.
that. That was poison.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, love you, man. I can't wait. Look, we're gonna do this again soon, so I'll definitely be coordinating with you for sure on this.
Yes,
Appreciate
sir.
everybody.
I love you too, my brother. And it was
Love you,
amazing
man.
chatting with you tonight. And we shall continue this again very soon. Again, if you're watching, thank you so much. I love you so
Thank you
much.
guys.
And we will see you again very soon. Peace and love.
All right. Love you, man. Later.